OBS update. Let me make sure this is yeah. Since the OBS update things are a little wonky. Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. Hello, Ardent. He says, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For your information, in 15 minutes, it will be 15 minutes from now." Thank you. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. We are Hollywoke Hot Take Live. Tony D and Little Joan. Right, Little Joan? Yes. And we are going to talk about movies, as always, and the box office, and the trades, and then whatever the hell else we want to talk about. But first, as always, I tell you about my week. I had a pretty good week. Let's see. What did I do? Oh, yeah. Monday, I helped a friend. Oh, there's Ardent. And it is, in fact, 15 minutes from then. Wow. Wow. He was right. You can't take that away from him. Monday, I was down at the Millville Motorsports Raceway. I was doing some PA work for a friend of mine who paid me very generously, and I was filming the automobiles for there's a local Cadillac dealership. They shoot various things, and they have a Cadillac race car, $75,000 it starts at, and there's a club, and then I don't think they really race. They just drive around the track really fast. But I got there in shorts because it was 90 degrees. But so then they were like, well, you got to wear pants to be in a car. I don't know why that's a rule, but it is. So the crew had to buy me sweatpants from the gift shop. So I got to keep them. I got free pants. That was my bonus pants. Ardent, always right, no matter how far I have to go to be right. So I did that on Monday. It was a 12-hour day, very long day. And then on Tuesday, I went to LBI. My first time back in LBI in a long time. JEC is here. Hi. And sold a bunch of books that day. That was a good day. Thank you, LBI Book Swap. And then yesterday, I was in Collingswood, New Jersey, for the second Saturday event on the street. And the nice people at the escape room there, Exit 4 Escape Room, let me set up in front of their shop. So that was very nice. And my girlfriend came out to support me. That was very nice. And then she got bored, and she started buying food. So she bought like a giant thing of French fries, like a huge thing of it. And like she ate like 10 of them, and then like was done, and like just handed me the rest of the fries. And I'm just like, okay. And I really like these fries, so I ended up eating them all. And then the topper was, she went and bought chocolate at some chocolate shop, and then we ate a bunch of chocolate. And then she was like, I don't think we should go out to eat tonight. And I was just like, well, yeah, we're full of French fries and chocolate, so. And then I went home and had a nice salad to kind of cleanse my palate after eating so much junk. And then today we went to Ocean City, New Jersey, and we went on the beach and went on the boardwalk where we ate a bunch of more junk food, and that was delicious. And then we stopped at my parents' farm and picked up a bunch of vegetables, mostly for her, and I got the watermelon, so I'm going to cut that later and see if that sucker's ripe. Nothing like a fresh watermelon right out of the garden in New Jersey. All right. So that was my week. Pretty good. Next week, I got a lot of events to do. I'm doing an event Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that should be fun. I finally got copies of the Pineys, book 18. Phew. It takes me I get my copies like 2 weeks after the fans get them. I mean, I would rather have it that way, but still, it's like, man, somebody orders one book, boom, they get it. Somebody orders like 26 books, you can't have to wait 10 days. So, Ardent, don't you just tap on them to tell if they're ripe? Works for cantaloupe. Yeah, there's a little more to it than that. Sometimes it's part of the color and how long it's been there and where it's been sitting. I mean, I think it'll be ripe. I mean, I doubt I'm going to cut it open and the thing will be solid green all the way through. But the question is it going to be tasty? You know, I think so. I think so. My dad already cut one and it was really good. So I'm hoping this one's good. Um, Also, my folks' farm is not too far from my favorite ice cream place, which I also went to this week, Royal Crown Ice Cream, where they have now peach custard. So they take the local peaches and they grind them up and put them in the custard, homemade, and then they make peach topping also out of the local peaches. So you get the peach sundae, which is amazing. Not as good as the blueberry, but still amazing. So that's what I had this week. Ardent, Tony D, Melon Man. I actually don't like the cantaloupe and the honeydew. I don't really like them. I mean, they're okay. Like if you have some cut up, I might have a piece. But like overall, I don't really like those melons. But I love the watermelon. The watermelon, that's the melon to have. One time I was in Philly at this Asian fusion place, and they had watermelon juice on the menu, and you get a whole glass of it, and it was like solid, you know, that red pink that watermelons are. That was good. It was good stuff. And then I drank iced tea. All right. Now, shocking news in the box office this week. A horror movie is #1. And if you haven't heard, it's all the rage in Hollywood. We'll be talking about it a lot. It is a movie called Weapons. Weapons is the #1 movie. The same guy who did Barbarian and one other movie. I forget the other movie. But it did $42.5 million in weekend. That's a pretty explosive entry for a movie that cost $38 million. So, you know, that's, 70 really in the weekend. So almost 100 million for a horror movie. That's crazy good. That's crazy good. So really, it's made its money back, its budget back already, and this movie is money in the bank, baby. Money in the bank. This is going to do very well. Next week, it'll be way over 100 billion. This will probably settle in probably around 200 million. I'm guessing. Somewhere in that range. That's pretty damn good for a low. Essentially a low. This is considered low budget. 38 million. That's pretty low these days. That's pretty low. So that is, and everybody's talking about this thing. It says the synopsis: when all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanish on the same night, exactly at the same time, a community is left with questioning who and what is behind their disappearance. They think it's the teacher. No idea. No idea. I think it has something to do with witches, but I'm not sure. But it looks like this is the movie everybody's going to see. Strange that it's this one, but there you go. #2 is Freakier Friday, a movie I don't think you could pay me to see, but there it is. Freakier Friday, the sequel to Freaky Friday, which was a remake. They made Freaky Friday back in the 70s. And I think I saw the original one, but I didn't see this one. This is the third installment, I believe. Yeah, I think this is the third installment. There was Freaky Friday. I guess it was Freaky Friday 2, and this is Freakier Friday. So, and they've done this bit so many times now, it's kind of beaten to death. But since these two did the first remake, and that was fairly popular, Here it is at 44.5 million. Basically, basically making its money, basically, and its budget. I mean, by next week, definitely. So, you know the story. They switch bodies. They switch bodies. In this one, though, the two granddaughters, or the granddaughter of Jamie Lee Curtis, daughter of Lindsay Lohan, and her soon-to-be adopted sister, because it's a man and a woman. Like Lindsay Lohan is marrying a dude who also has a daughter, so they're going to technically be sisters. And then so the two young girls swap bodies with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, and then we follow Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan acting like teenagers through most of the movie, occasionally cutting back to the old people in the young bodies. JC, a middle-aged woman switched bodies with an elderly woman, so another horror movie? No, they don't switch bodies in this one. It's the teenage girls who you don't see on the poster because nobody knows who the hell they are, switching bodies with these two, so they can act like morons, and then the two teenagers can act like responsible adults, I guess. So there you go. Yeah, I wouldn't say it. It'll probably easily make its money. It's got a bit of a following. All right. Next up, number 3. Number 3 is the Fantastic Four First Steps, dropping by 60% in its third week. 525 theaters dropped the damn thing. Dropping like a rock. $15.5 million. Wow. So worldwide, it's made $434 million, which is about break even, almost. I mean, it needs to, let's say, well, it really needs to be about $500 million, but it should get there. Maybe just squeak over, but it's really running out of gas quickly, so maybe not. It may lose some money. And that's no bueno. But the rumor is they've already greenlit the Fantastic Four First Steps 2, but I don't think that can be true. It's too early. But this is the final days of the superhero movie as we've seen it. They got to roll this back. They have no choice now. Disney definitely has to roll it back. This was their last hurrah, I think. If this movie had hit big enough, if it had done enough money at least to make a little bit, they would have been fine with it. Probably would have continued with their non-stop destroying of the Marvel comic universe. But now they got to really rethink things, I would think. But they're already committed to Doomsday as reviving this show. I don't think it's going to work. I really don't. I think you might have some problems here, Disney. I think people may be sick of this shtick, but we'll see. We shall see. Dropping from 2 to 4 is The Bad Guys 2. In its second week, dropping by 53%, $10.4 million. So this is Sam Rockwell did one of the voices. I always liked him. That poor guy never seems to catch a break in the live-action movies anyway, but this one seems to be doing okay. It's got somewhat legs, I would say. A little more legs than Superman. So people are really liking this movie. It's in 8 more theaters this week. Did it make money? Let's see. What is the budget? $80 million budget? It'll probably make its money. I mean, this is its second week. Yeah, it's probably going to squeak over. probably. I don't know. We'll see. Number 5, dropping from 3, is The Naked Gun. 50% in its second week. That definitely means legs. So people are liking the Naked Gun movie, I think. And let's see, 56 million worldwide on a movie that we don't know the budget, but the budget's probably not that high. Probably not that high. 40, 50 million maybe. I can't imagine it's much higher than that. There was nothing really in this. I mean, in terms of special effects. You know? It was okay. I know I keep saying that, but it like, if this had come out in the 90s, people would have like went, that sucked. But because there just hasn't been even a halfway decent comedy in a long, long time, this is getting much better, I think, legs and reviews than it would have had it come out at a time when we had a lot of comedies. It's because people want to laugh. People want comedy. And it was at least competent. I will say it's at least competent comedy. The problem is, where are all the comedians? Where's Matt Rife? He's the only hot comedian around. And they put him in I think it was a horror movie. Like, why isn't he in comedies? He's the new guy. Put him in comedies. Why is Kevin Hart in stupid video game movies and other movies that aren't comedies? Put these guys back in comedies. JC, just got a message from the guy I'm working with on my next book saying he really liked The Naked Gun. My mom emailed me saying she watched it with my brother, but she was meh on it. Yeah, it's totally watchable. I got tired of it by the third act, and I think it gets tiresome. It gets tiresome. It's not as frantic as I would have liked it to be. It needed more jokes. There are just some moments where you go, oh, is that a joke? Oh, it's not a joke. So they just sort of pass it by. But again, I think it was partly because they wanted to avoid jokes from the previous movies. And so in that, they managed to do that. But in that process, they had to stop going for laughs that would have been very obvious because they already did all the ones with the Naked Gun character. JC, yeah, my mom said something about it running out of steam. Yeah, about the third act, it just gets tiresome. And if you were watching this with your friends, like hanging out, playing cards, or just drinking, it would be fine. It would be that's the kind of movie it is. But yeah, after a while you would just tune out and start talking to each other and forget it was even on. So it's kind of a forgettable movie. What they need to do with The Naked Gun in the next movie, if they do another one, they probably will. They need to take Frank Drebin out of the cop scenario. They need to get away from cops. Because part of what The Naked Gun was, it was a parody of cop shows from the 70s mostly. That was the heyday of cop shows. When I was a kid, that's all I watched. I watched the most awesome cop shows ever. I watched Kojak. Kojak was so bloody when it first came on, they changed the rules on television to cut back on all the blood that was on the show. Because they would shoot dudes and blood would come pouring out. It was awesome. So they would do parodies of Kojak and all these stiff cop shows. Dragnet was a big one. That was before the 70s, but you get what I'm saying. And so that was all fresh in everyone's mind. They're still doing those same parodies of those same shows. Like, they need to be doing parodies of CSI, the Bones, all the forensic shows where they have all this crazy camera shots where they go down into the soda can and look at the DNA and then come back. And Like stuff like that. They didn't do that. JC, Kojak with the lollipop? You betcha, baby. Gotta make it CSI parody. Exactly. Exactly, JC. And I am shocked they did not do a Taken parody because they had Liam Neeson right there. Why wouldn't you do a Taken parody? Like, why wouldn't you do the bit where he goes, I have a very special set of skills for against people like you? Like, why wouldn't you do that? He's the guy who did it. Like, it would have been hilarious to do a parody of that. Just didn't do it. They played it very safe, I feel. But that being said, it was safe, but it was competent. Ardent, I was born bald. My first nickname was Kojak. Who loves you, Ardent? Yeah, like, so all that stuff is too old. Nobody knows what the hell they're even parodying anymore. So they need to parody something more current like CSI. Anything. Anything. The new SWAT show. I mean, they have way different cop shows now. And they could have done, on CSI, they had the goth chick. They could have done a parody of that character. They have, and like, this is from a guy who doesn't really watch TV all that much anymore. SVU. They definitely should have done an SVU parody with like a partner and glung glung and the DA getting mad and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's so much to mine from there. That's not in any of this movie. It's the same. It's like they decided to do a fourth Naked Gun movie, and essentially it was a sequel, but they didn't change much. JC, it was mostly Dragnet Send Up, a movie from 70 years ago. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But it had that 70s stiffness. Like there was this whole stiffness in the 70s with some of these cop shows where it would always be like a guy who was too rich to arrest, and they had to get the evidence before anybody would do an investigation, and then the rogue cop would like go in undercover or break into his house or whatever. So, and there's stuff from the 80s and 90s they've never parodied. Things like Magnum P.I., they've never really done that in a Naked Gun that I'm aware of. They've done that on like Family Guy and shows like that, but you could have done, I mean, like, if you're gonna do it, pull from every cop show you could possibly think of. Blue Bloods, that's another show that's fairly popular, also with Tom Selleck. It's all about cops. Like, there's so much to pull from. So the next movie, they either need to do that, or they need to take the Frank Drebin character, Liam Neeson, out of Police Squad and move him into a world that's completely different. Like, he's got to make him an international spy, which I think they did in one of the Naked Gun movies, but they're going to have to go like far afield and mine some other new material somewhere else. But I don't know if they will. I have a feeling they're stuck. They're kind of stuck where they are. But we'll see. Another thing they could do, of course, which they probably still won't do as long as Seth MacFarlane's involved, is make fun of woke idiots. Like, that would be great to have like an HR person come in there and make Frank Drebin do a bunch of woke crap that makes no sense, and partner up with a trans person that's totally insane. Like something like that, and then Drebin doesn't even understand it and like makes all kinds of stupid triggering comments and set somebody off. I mean, like, all that stuff would be gold, but I don't know. There's so much to do in a movie like this. Really, what they could do is just move on to like, another kind of movie, right? Like, this is a parody of cop shows and cop movies. Airplane was a parody of, there were a lot of airport movies also back in the 70s. But you could do parodies of, for instance, The Rock was in a bunch of disaster movies. Like, there was one with, I think, an earthquake and a tidal wave, and then there's ones with like I don't know, Volcano or something. Do a movie like that. I think they did a parody movie like that called Disaster Movie, but like, you know, they didn't have very good writers for that, I don't think. But in the style of maybe The Naked Gun would work. So, JC, boomers in the early 90s remember Dragnet. Gen X kids at least remember Dragnet reruns. People my age have no idea about Dragnet. Yeah, you probably, the closest thing to you have to Dragnet is the Dan Aykroyd movie with Tom Hanks, where he basically did a Dragnet movie, comedy movie. If you remember that, I think that was the early 90s when Dan Aykroyd was still A-list. So they need to freshen it up, but we'll see. Number 6 is Superman. 7.8 million, only dropped by 43%. It's in its 5th week. It's at 7.8 million. This movie has legs all day. JC, I was too young for that movie even. Oh, Jesus. Making me feel old. Superman is at 578 million. This should hit 600, crack 600 next week. No problem. I'm gonna guesstimate it's going to do about 5 million a day across this next week, something like that. 4 million. Yeah, this will get to 600, and then next weekend maybe it does another 7 or 8 million worldwide. Gets to like 607, probably peters out around 620, 630. That ain't too shabby. This is money. 225. If you do the formula, it's 450 plus another 112, which again, that's 538. So this movie's in the black. A lot of people are trying to say it's not. Even if you use this formula, it's very, I think, generous. They're encompassing a lot. They're assuming a lot with that 2.5 formula. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. I'm telling you, I don't think they paid that kind of money. I think they're playing fast and loose with their numbers. But you can choose to believe what you want to believe. I think the movie made money. I don't know why people are online insisting it didn't. The only thing I can think of is, besides the fact people are just ignorant asshats that never want to admit they're wrong, it could be that it's part of a PR sort of thing for the rival studios like Disney or like Paramount, to grind down Warner Brothers to make them look bad, and in retrospect they look better. It could be the CCP just trying to grind down Warner Brothers. Because, again, I believe that the CCP would love to take over Hollywood, at least enough to influence it a lot more than it already has. Number 7 is Jurassic World Rebirth. This movie just won't stop. 4.7 million. Made a ton of money. Can't argue with success. I wish you could, though, in the case of Jurassic World. Number 8 is F1, the movie. 2.8 million. I think we're in the black with this thing. Although I don't think we know the budget. 570 million. We don't know the budget, but this thing has to be in the black. How much could they possibly pay Brad Pitt to be in this thing? Has to be. It couldn't cost that much. There's no way that thing cost 200 million. No way. I think that thing had to cost maybe like 100. Maybe. Number 9, dropping from 6, is Together in its second week, dropping by 62%. Ouch. I suspect this isn't a bad movie, 2.6 million. But up against Weapons, which is a juggernaut now, it's getting killed. It's also another horror movie. Another low budgeter, too. So this thing's going to get absolutely creamed. So, it's a shame. I like Allison Brie. Dave Franco can't seem to catch a break. His brother caught all kinds of breaks at first, and then he got Me Too'd, and so now Dave's trying to make a go of it. I think he's married to Allison Brie. Nice. Number 10 is Sketch from Angel Studios, premiering at 2.5 million. This is one of those cute kids movies where the kid draws stuff and it comes to life. Yeah, I think we're just about tapped out on this kind of movie, but it's going to be wholesome. It's from Angel Studios, but it does star what's his face? I can't think of his name, but he is from Arrested Development. He played Buster. He also was Julia Louis-Dreyfus' assistant on Veep. Production budget $3 million. Yeah, so it's probably already in the black. $3 million. See, that's the way you make a movie. $3 million. That's perfectly fine budget. You know, you talk about these big budgets, man. $3 million is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You could do a lot with $3 million on a movie. You really can. And, you know, the guy who plays Buster's not complete unknown. I mean, he's mostly a TV guy, but he's been in a couple of movies, I think. You know, $3 million, that's all you need. Really, unless there's going to be stunts, like big stunts or big special effects, $3 million is more than enough. The guys at Godzilla Minus One, they showed $15 million that movie cost, and it's great. It has all kinds of crazy effects. It takes place in the past. It has period pieces, and it has boats and ships and explosions. Everything's in that movie. There's no reason you need to spend $200 million on Superman. There's just no, 225. No reason. Except that they might be washing some money or playing some game. I don't know. They may be, I think, inflating their budgets by an order of magnitude. That really, they're only spending, I don't know, $40 million on Superman. But they're reporting 225 so they can write off all the profit. And I think the way they do it, again, is they own the studios, they own things, they have all these divisions, and each division rents to the other division, and so really it's one division paying this division, and that's a cost, and then that's a, you know, and then it's all written off. JEC, last thing I saw the guy who played Buster from Arrested Development was that one truck stop he offered to blow me for $50 so he could buy crack. What the hell are you talking about? What the hell? Let's see. I can't think of his name. Tony Hale, that's his name. Tony Hale. He's funny. He's been in some stuff. There he is. He was in Inside Out. That was a big movie. Inside Out and Inside Out 2, forget it. Arrested Development, Veep, Toy Story 4 he's in. I didn't know he was in that one. American Ultra, I don't know that movie. Yeah, he can't seem to catch a break in the live action movies. So, he was in Megamind, the TV series. For some reason he was in Beyonce times Verizon Can't Be Broken. I think he plays Beyonce's in a TV short. It's weird. He was in Harley Quinn, the TV series. Yeah, a lot of voice work. Rugrats, Family Guy. So, yeah, he can't catch a break on his movies, though. He's working pretty steady, dude. JC, American Ultra was that Max Landis movie with Kristen Stewart. I don't remember that one. Let's see. American Ultra. Stoner, who is in fact a government agent. Oh, wait, now I remember it. Is marked as a liability and targeted for extermination. but his too well trained and too high for them to handle. Yeah, that looks stupid. It looked very stupid. Ardent, yeah, it was pretty good. LeMay is here. Centaur World was terrible. Was that on here? Probably. I didn't see it. Oh, Unfrosted. I liked Unfrosted. I think I was the only one. I think it was the only person that loved that movie. I thought it was funny. So, yeah, you can't catch a break, Tony Hale. Number 11, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Did not do well. It's in its fourth week, dropping from 8 to 11. 62 million? Oh, this should have made its money. Oh, yeah, it made way money. Oh, that's money in the bank. But I hear it's no bueno. LeMay, yeah. Next up, the Smurfs movie in its fourth week. Going out of theaters, $475,000. Couldn't pay me to watch that. Number 13, My Mother's Wedding. From Vertical Entertainment, premiering at $432,000. It's not in too many theaters. It's more of an art house thing. Scarlett Johansson is in it. A lot of women are in it. It's a movie full of women. I'll just leave it at that. Number 14, How to Train Your Dragon, dropping from 10. This movie finally leaving theaters. God, this is a juggernaut. Made a ton of money. Number 15, It's Never Over, Jeff Buckley. What the heck is this? I think I'm familiar with this movie. I like the title. It's Never Over, Jeff Buckley. Oh, this might be a documentary. Nope. Jeff Buckley, a rising star with an otherworldly voice, left the 90s music world, reeling when he died suddenly after release of his debut album in a tragic accident. Buckley drowned in Wolf River in Memphis in 1997, leaving behind an unfinished second album and a legion of devastated family, friends, and fans. Told through never-before-seen footage from Buckley's archives and intimate accounts from his mother, Mary Gubert, former partners Rebecca Moore and Joan Wasser, Jeff's former bandmates, including Michael Teague and Parker Kindred, and luminaries like Ben Harper, Amy Mann, Oscar-nominated filmmaker Amy Berg crafts an illuminating portrait of modern music's most influential and enigmatic figures. So it is a documentary. Interesting. Ardent. Yeah, Jeff Buckley was amazing. Oh, The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I think I'm conflating it with another guy. But, I'll have to check out some of his music later. Eddington. Ha 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 ha. It's another Pedro Pascal movie. In its fourth week, dropping like a rock. $165K. Cat Video Fest. $143K. Who would go see this? You know, I have the internet, and I can watch cat videos all day for free, 24/7. I think I'm going to pay $14 and see it on a big screen. Ardent, I think the blind melon singer died around the same time. Well, him I remember. JC, I think I'm confusing him with Jeff Beck. Yeah, me too. Because he sort of vaguely reminded me of Jeff Beck. JC, Cat Video Fest returns. Yeah. It's crazy. Who would go see this? It was like, is it for old ladies who don't know about YouTube? I mean, oh, that sounds wonderful. I saw this amazing movie with cats. Well, you could see it on your phone, dear. Yes, but I saw it in the theater like a normal person, Gladys, you bitch. And that was my little play, Gladys in the Nursing Home. Yeah, it's like, I don't know why. Lilo and Stitch, still in theaters, $132K. Elio, somehow still in some theaters somewhere, $123K. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, still out, $104K. Sorry Baby, $68K. Cloud, 58K. Materialist, another Pedro Pascal film, 21K. You'll notice all the Pedro Pascal movies didn't really make a lot of money. JC, I mean, it costs nothing to assemble. It probably just ripping off TikToks. Yeah. Ardent, what a bitch you are, Ophelia. Yes, Gladys, I know. And finally, premiering in one theater, Boys Go to Jupiter. What the heck is this? Don't remember what this is. It sounds familiar, though. We'll see how well it does. It sounds like an art house movie. Let's see. I could look it up on the IMDb. I will. Hold on. There we go. Boys Go to Jupiter. There it is. Oh, yeah. It's some kind of weird animated thing. Teenager in suburban Florida desperately hustles to make $5,000 in this dreamy and surreal animated coming-of-age story. Yeah. I forget why he needs to make the money. But, so, yeah, that's the box office. The total was $129 million. Not great for the summer, but okay, I guess. What was last week? Let's see last week's. Last week was 119. Not too bad. I mean, not too good, really. And then the week before, I think this was the big week. Yeah, 185. I mean, JC, looks like a mobile game. I think that's the point. So, movies not doing great. Not doing great, but this Weapons movie looks interesting. And I know because Variety told me. Weapons scares up for $42.5 million. Zach Krager, that's the guy's name. Twisty horror film about a group of missing children is lifting ticket sales as summer movie season draws to a close. It ain't over yet. This is the beginning of August. What do you mean drawing to a close? People are still going on vacation. Summer ain't over, dude. Labor Day is the end of summer. Everybody knows that. I was just down at the beach today. Oh, yeah, the summer's over. It's not drawing to a close. You got 3 weeks. 3. That is not closed. Zach Krager is also doing a Resident Evil movie. So, he seems to be a fan of the game, so that might be good. I don't know. I never liked Resident Evil, even as the original game. It was okay. I just want a zombie game. Is that too much to ask? A zombie game where there's just zombies. That's it. I want all the zombies to be the same. Exactly the same. Once in a while, you have to, like, kill a special one that has, like, a gun on them or a packet of food or something. That would be cool. Maybe a zombie that's slightly bigger or fat. But overall, I just want a zombie game where there are just zombies. I don't know why I can't get that in a detailed game. Instead, they all got to have superpowers. Spider-Man Brand New Day footage shows Tom Holland riding a tank, high-fiving fans. We'll take a quick look at that. So there he is. Nope, I guess it's on the video. And there's Tom Holland walking around oh no, this is New York. Someplace in Scotland. So, Holland's got his hair growing out a little bit. Here's some of his fans. That's nice. Taking pictures. I don't see much difference in the new suit, the old suit. And so there he is riding a tank. So that looks good. Should be fun. Ardent, if I recall correctly, one of the Medal of Honor or Call of Duty games had a zombie mode, and so did Red Dead Redemption, and I think Red Dead Redemption 2. They do. And they're pretty standard zombies. But it's not a whole game. Like, what I want is an open sandbox game where there's just zombies. Regular zombies. They're all like slow and lumbering. And then the idea is it's a strategy game. Like, if you don't hit them right in the head, they're not totally dead. Maybe you knock them over or whatever. And then, like, they're kind of hard to kill, right? Unless you hit them right in the head. So, if they get close, they can lunge a little bit, but they can't run. See, I don't like them when they run. So I want a game where it's strategy, like it puts stuff in their way, and then, you know, it's about hurting the zombies away from you and not, you know, watching your six all the time. That to me would be interesting. You know, you shoot a bunch of zombies and they start blocking the doorway, and then the other zombies start tripping over those zombies, and then you kill them easier. You know, like, it should allow you to use some strategy. And I think the zombie games they have is they're so gung-ho on, like, oh, here's a zombie that can climb up walls and jump around and drink your blood. Like, I don't want that. That's not fun. I want the zombies to be individually easy to kill, but in large groups, very hard to kill. So mostly they end up congregating in places, and you have to be careful not to get caught in those places, right? So you could go to like a building, and maybe there's a whole warehouse full of them, and you open the door and you let them all out. And, you know, that's a problem because now they're all over the place. But if you're smart, you go somewhere where they can't get you and then kill them one by one. But I don't know. I wonder if the Walking Dead games are like that. Ardent, Lamau, here's a zombie that can do backflips, float in midair, and sneak up on you like a ninja from 50 feet away. Isn't this fun? Yeah, that's not a zombie game to me. Zombies shouldn't be able to do that. The scary thing to me about zombies is you think initially you got it covered. Like, I started watching the Minecraft game, the Minecraft movie, which isn't bad, actually. I'm surprised how much I enjoy it. But there's zombies in the game, and it's a stupid movie. But the characters, like, individually can knock down the zombies. But, like, if 4 or 5 come, that's a problem. Because you can't fight all 4 or 5 of them, and you can't kill them all that easily. So that's the kind of zombies I would want. Like, if you had to kill 4 or 5 zombies and you're trapped in a house, like, you should strategically, like, lure one of the zombies in a room, slam the door on the other zombies, kill the zombie in the room, and then, you know, wait a while, you know, until you can open the door again and do the same thing to the next zombie. Like, that should be sort of the strategy. And I'm waiting for that game. Will the Oscars leave ABC? Who cares? Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Leave ABC. Put the final nail in the coffin so nobody can see the stupid celebrities in their stupid award show. At this point, the Oscars are pointless. They made a bunch of HR rules so you have to include diversity in your movie just to get nominated for an Oscar. So who the F cares? Who the F cares who gets an Oscar? I don't care. I don't care if a movie has an Oscar anymore. That was like the 90s and before. Now, F your Oscar. If someone's got an Oscar, I just watched an Oscar-winning movie last week. It was called Cold Mountain. It was one of the most boring movies I ever sat through. It sucks. Jude Law won an Oscar for it. I don't know why. I honestly couldn't tell you why. Now, it's not the worst movie in the world. It's coherent. But it is not Oscar worthy at all. His performance, not Oscar worthy at all. Nicole Kidman's in it. Definitely not an Oscar winning movie for me. So, but that's the kind of movies that it turned into something for money. Like initially it was more of a, trade show craft sort of award thing. Yes, there were celebrities and people were interested, but it was kind of like, well, you had to be a movie person to be interested. That was at a time when not everybody saw movies and movies were considered the end all be all. People weren't all obsessed with movies and culture and stuff. They were mostly concerned about their families and work and getting through life. Now things are different. People are utterly out of their minds about movies and culture and stuff. They're way too obsessed with, still, celebrities. Although, mostly they've made them so obsessed with celebrities. Now everybody hates celebrities, I think, to a large extent. So who cares? Who cares? Take it off of ABC, put it on Disney Plus behind a paywall so no one ever sees it. Ardent, 10 will get you 20 that the Oscars will immediately end up PPV on YouTube if they leave ABC. I don't care. I don't care. The only reason I'm interested in the Oscars is because I make fun of them on my show here. That's it. That's it. That's the only reason. And even then, I don't even know if you guys really give a crap about the Oscars. Like, they're just a thing. And not a very important thing anymore. They used to be kind of important. Sort of. No. Celebrities are done. Award shows are done. Movies are mostly done. Until the movies start getting better, I don't want them to win any awards. I can't think of the last award-winning movie I saw that I thought, whoa, this deserves some sort of award. I don't know. I'd have to think about it, but Ardent, it's like a lot of people watching the YouTube critics rather than the movies. The critics are more entertaining. Yeah, I agree. I don't watch the news. I watch people talking about the news because I'd rather watch them. It's more interesting. Sometimes they'll steer you wrong because their opinions are not fact. So you get the wrong impression, and then later you're like, oh, wait, that probably wasn't the case. But, yeah, and it's the same thing with movies, but they're just, critical drinker, neurotic, doomcock, you, me, I hope, and all more entertaining than the films themselves a lot of the time. Yeah, because you don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know what's going to happen in these YouTube videos. Lots of crazy stuff happens. Ardent, LOL, speaking of, remember that Van Damme Rodman horror show, Double Team? No, I don't think so. Was that a TV show or a movie? Double Team, let's see. I vaguely remember Rodman being... 1997, there it is. Ha! An international spy teams up with an arms dealer to escape a penal colony and rescue his family from a terrorist. I love everything in that sentence. See, this is a movie. This is a movie. Ardent, 97 movie, Rodman's debut. Van Damme was just past his peak. It's science fiction movie. A science fiction movie? Huh. Director, Hark Odysee. Writers, Don Jacoby and Paul Muniz. So, they don't play by the rules. Look, this movie was probably terrible. Oh, look at that hot chick. from the visionary Mark Twain. What is this? Oh, this is like a fake movie. A fake movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme is Huckleberry Finn. Yep, Huck. Okay. I have to see that. Ardent, the single line I will never forget from this flick is from a sniper. With this, I can shoot the D off a hummingbird. Is Mickey Rourke in this? Yes, Mickey Rourke is in it as Stavros. Such an evil name. Stavros. You, I knew it would be you. Stavros. You don't even have a first name. You're so evil. Ardent, LOL. I kind of want to see Huck. I kind of want to see Huck too. Yeah, I mean, like, at least it sounds like it's going to be fun. Ardent, yep, Mickey Rourke is the bad guy and is amazing. That's crazy. Well, I'll have to check in with that at some point. I don't remember seeing that. I think I remember it advertised. Let's see. Now that they've been relaunched, how will DC and Marvel avoid the same old downward spiral? Well, none of that's worked yet, Variety. It definitely hasn't worked with Fantastic Four. It's questionable whether or not it worked with Superman. Oh, but hang on. Supergirl is coming, where she's a drunk. But maybe Crypto can save that movie again. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think the MCU is relaunched, Variety, but you can dream, I suppose. I love that headline. Now that they've been relaunched, now that everything's fine again and we're all making money in movies. Like, no, you're not. Ardent. Hancock Girl? No. Dave Chappelle screens unreleased documentary live in real life about his COVID comedy shows to raise money for his high school alma mater. Okay. I guess. Ardent, drunk Supergirl. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's going to be, basically. Probably even worse than that, because I bet she has sex with a lot of dudes. Just saying. Here's the problem with the movie studios with regard to the comic book movies. Number one, they don't understand the comic book fandom, and I don't think they care about them one whit. Now, I've told many times on this channel about my alpha fan theory, which is, if you go to see these kinds of movies, there's always someone in your circle of friends, depending on how nerdy you are, that is the comic book guy, or the genre movie guy, or the horror guy, or whatever. So before you go see a movie like Superman, if you're just a normie, if you have one of these geeky friends, you might call him up or send him an email, say, hey, what's the deal on the new Superman movie? Is it going to be any good? And based on his recommendation, yay or nay, will greatly influence whether or not you even see it. So, Ardent, the most powerful STDs in the universe. Super Herpes Girl. Ardent, I'm not sorry. So, the alpha fan theory, to me, will greatly influence whether or not you're going to get a big surge of people or whether or not you're going to get a lukewarm reception as these last round of superhero movies have gotten. And I think it's been very lukewarm because I think the people who other people rely on, like for me, I rely on guys like you mentioned, the Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic and Doomcock. I watch them first before I decide to go spend money on one of these movies. The only reason I went to go see Naked Gun is most of those guys seem to like it. And I don't regret it, but it was again, a negative experience. Not because I don't blame them. I blame the theaters are just they're untenable at this point. It's so expensive to go to a movie theater now. It's insane. It's utterly insane to go. So movie theaters are dying, and they should die at this point because I don't know what else to do with them. They won't lower their prices. They won't give us any, you have to join their stupid subscription model and see a ridiculous amount of movies for it to be worth anything to save money. I'm not doing that. I don't see enough movies anymore. I'd rather just wait. These people don't realize you're competing with the streaming. And the streaming stuff is very, very appealing. It's very appealing to me to just spend $20, $19.99 to rent a new movie, stream it at my place or my girlfriend's place, where we can sit and relax and pause the movie and go to the bathroom and have a sandwich and do whatever we want and see the movie at our leisure. I'm watching a Minecraft movie now. It's taken me, I've watched it in pieces. I'm not that invested in. But I'll probably finish it Monday at my leisure, as opposed to going to the movie theaters and having to sit with a bunch of crazy kids who are absolutely insane for that movie. So if they don't fix what's going on in the movie theaters and make it dirt cheap, and I mean dirt cheap for a while, or they really got to kick up the service. So you're going to have to make the food dirt cheap. Something's got to be cheap. Something's got to give with this crap. The first thing you could do is cut back on the previews and the commercials ahead of a movie. That would be number one. Cut the commercials down to 2, at least. I would cut them all together, but they're never going to do that. I would cut the previews. Who cares about the previews? You can see them on YouTube whenever you want. They show the trailers all the time on YouTube. They're there 24/7. You don't need to see them in a movie theater. You don't need to. Ardent. Or you can wait until a film comes out on streaming service for the lower rental price and watch it once for less than a quarter of what it would normally cost at cinema. Yes. Or some people do this, not me. People pirate movies. Someone today just told me, oh, I've got this little device. It's a box and I can watch anything I want for free. And I said, that's probably super illegal. They said, I don't care. I don't watch that many movies. I'm not paying for this crap. That's what they're doing to movies. They made them so unimportant. At first, they made them so important, and then they basically bamboozled us to go see them and spend our money. Now we're so burned out on them and all their hype, people are like, F you, I'll steal the movie now. And at some point they're going to crack down on that. Wait for that. Oh, wait for that when the movie industry finally gets its act together and goes to Congress and says, oh, you got to pass a law, make it illegal, and fine people $1,000 if they download a movie. Ardent, LOL, there are trailer channels and really good trailer review channels. Yes. Yes, there are. But they've done nothing. They've done nothing. Ardent, LOL, you wouldn't download a car. The hell I wouldn't. Sure. We're pretty close to that, actually, with all the 3D printing. You could probably download it a piece at a time. But they're doing nothing. They made the seats more comfortable. That's about the only thing they did. The food was slightly better. I spent a total of, me and my girlfriend going to the movies, I spent over $60 between the food and the tickets. That's too much money. For $60, we could have gone to a nice restaurant and watched a movie for free on one of the services we already have. Essentially for free. I have 2 services for free. Netflix and HBO Max. I got it with my phone. So, that's how I'm watching Minecraft. Why should I pay for any of this? I got so mad when they showed Batman in theaters and charged an extra $1, I wouldn't go see it. I waited until it came on streaming and saw it for nothing. They lost my business because they wanted to sink me for one extra $1. That is petty larceny, in my view. They should be going the other way. They should have said, oh, you're a subscriber on HBO Max? Well, if you come out and use this QR code, you can see the movie for $5. How about that? That would be something. No. They don't want to actually save you money. That's because they're all sitting around, I don't want to save anybody money. We need to make money. But they're willing to spend $225 million on paper to make a movie when they could make 10 movies for that amount of money. Easily. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, this is why movies are dying. For Paramount and CBS, the Redstone era ends with little fanfare and diminished assets. Yes. And hopefully I'll be selling my Paramount stock very soon. Or will they buy it from me? I don't know. Sometimes when there's a merger, it just disappears and you get money. Paul Walter Hauser told 70 or 80 random people about secret Fantastic Four role. I'm not going to lie, and said I told literally no one. Okay. Josh Brolin says Weapons is the antithesis of boring. Okay. Streaming content, that's all the same S. Audiences are looking for great filmmakers. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Bobby Whitcock, Derek and the Dominoes co-founder and session player for George Harrison and others, dies at 77. It's a shame. Ardent, half the budget to offer discounts for streaming subscribers. Yeah, something. Offer us something. You know? Like, just weeknights, movies are $5. All the way across the board. People would go again. You have to get people back in the habit of going to the movie theater. That it's, like, cheap enough. And then, I get it, you need to make money. You slowly ramp it back up. That's the way to do it. All right, moving on to Fandom Pulse. Czech Games now completely capitulates to Blue Sky Mob, announces Harry Potter game, profits going to trans charity. Oh my god, dude. That is a complete capitulation. And it won't get you jack. I bet none of the people who complain buy it. That is sad. Ooh, I hate to see that. This late in the game, you're going to capitulate to these guys? And you got the Harry Potter franchise. There's already been a video game where they basically told the trans community to go pound sand, and the game did gangbusters. Now you're going to apologize? That's going to lose your fans. You're not going to win jack on that. God. The gaming fandom is completely captured. I look forward to the gaming equivalent of Trump. I can't wait till there's a Trump guy in the gaming world. He starts his own Gen Con. It'll be fun. Star Trek actress Celia Rose Gooding confirms there will be no LGBTQ propaganda through season 4 of Strange New Worlds. I don't care. I'm still not watching that show. Cancel it. Ardent, people are actually paying attention to the Blue Sky somethings and somethings. Apparently some people are. So imagine having to announce on Star Trek, a TV show that really shouldn't have a lot of this LGBTQ nonsense, or if it did have it, would have a different, more scientific basis, you know, for, you know, an angle, a science angle. Like, this is the show that should have been like, no, you can't change your DNA. Like, that's should have been the Star Trek show. It should have been an episode where they go down onto a planet and, you know, a group of seemingly female aliens come up to them and they say, no, our scans show that you're half of you are male. And and they freak out, and the Star Trek guys are like, but that's that's your DNA. And then they get arrested, and then the argument in court is, you know, the alien court is, can you even say that? Like, the Star Trek people should have been the ones like, well, we can't recognize, you know, we can be nice and recognize your pronouns, but we can't recognize artificial biology that doesn't exist. That would have been an amazing show. But instead, this is just more, I don't know what you would call it, regime fodder. And now, in its 4th season, they're coming out and they're saying, oh, we're not going to do that anymore. Let's see, we did puppets. This is Strange New Worlds. They did puppets. They did, I think, a bunch of LGBTQ nonsense. I know they did a climate thing or two, and they did a musical number. And I believe it was the guy who's the lead, the Captain Pike guy, said some political stuff too. Oh, but now they're not going to do it in the 4th season, everybody. Hey, give us a medal. Now we're not going to indoctrinate your children. Go F yourselves. I'm not watching your stupid show. That ship has sailed. You might as well be as gay as you want now. Nobody's going to watch it. Nobody's coming back now that you announce it. No one's coming back. What you have in a Star Trek show was it's so simple. It's already been done. All you had to do was follow the formula. All you had to do is follow. What did Gene Roddenberry do? He hired all the best science fiction writers he could get his hands on, and they wrote the episodes. The end. That's it. And then he rewrote the episodes so they would kind of align with his vision, but mainly he hired a bunch of science fiction writers. He didn't like grill them on their sexuality and their race and do a bunch of DEI nonsense. Oh, there's not going to be any LGBTQ propaganda through season 4? Well, is there going to be any DEI propaganda? How about CRT propaganda? Oh, maybe we'll have some of that. Maybe we'll have the women be all the captains and all the men be incompetent boobs. Pass. Crowdfunded St. Maximilian Kolbe film releases first trailer and announces September release date. I have to see if I can find. I got to remember to find this trailer and check it out. It's a crowdfunded film called Triumph of the Heart. It appears to take place during the Great War. What else? Gina Carano, of course, won her Disney lawsuit this week. That was big. That was huge. Disney finally buckling under and returning to some semblance of sanity. A little late. It could have been completely avoided. Ardent, the problem now is that the good sci-fi writers are all femini political weirdos who haven't written a word for real people in decades. Use good for Gina. Yes, good for Gina. Yeah, I guess, but there's still a lot of sci-fi writers around. The problem is the people in charge, a lot of them need to be fired too. Like Marvel Comics, to me, and DC Comics, they're both complete losses. The only way would be to purge the entire division and start over with a guy like myself. Like, who could you pick? You'd have to go back in time to a previous era of comic book and pick a guy. Like, I would have said Jim Shooter, but he just died. And he was probably too old to do it. I don't know. Could you get Joe Quesada back? Would he even do it? Doubtful. I'm sure there's a guy around publishing comics who could do it. But you couldn't pick, for instance, the publisher of another woke comic book company, he'd be a disaster. He'd just do the same damn thing. You need to pick a guy. You could pick Eric July. He'd be okay. Ardent. Yeah, the problem is not just in the writer's room. Oh, no, absolutely not. The only way it would be solved in the writer's room and not the rest of the company is if the rest of the company decided, well, the comics division, we don't care about that. Do whatever you want. Which may eventually happen. Ardent drinker, you neurotic, me, hell, any random actual male. Eric July, for example. Yeah, he's got some experience. So he would be good. Mike Barron would be very good. If he wanted to do it. I have a sneaking suspicion he wouldn't want to do it. He's really good, though. He would be great at it, I think. Nerdrotic would be pretty good. Although I don't think... he's not really a writer. He's not really creative. But he might be a good manager of people. You know. You need to... Because, keep in mind, I knew guys in the 90s and 2000s who were already woke. Leading up to the woke era. They were happy with the woke era. They loved it. They were cheering it on. They're still cheering it on. They're freaking out about Trump. Those guys are still working. Some of them. Like someone like Gail Simone, who sort of bridged the gap. You can't have her. You can't. You'd have to fire her and never hire her again. She would be a complete loss. Because the moment she came back, she'd start up again. She'd start right back into the message, in my view. That's just my personal opinion. Someone like that. It has to be new guys who want to do good science fiction and who have a real basis. Razor Fist would be a good choice. He'd be an excellent choice. He has excellent taste in comics. Because he knows all the French stuff and the Italian stuff. He wouldn't want to do it either. I mean, maybe. I mean, I guess if you paid him enough money, he might want to do it. I don't know. But you'd have to get... Whoever you picked, if you picked me, I would demand that I'd need carte blanche to hire and fire people, and I would have to have enough money for, like... I'd need at least 5 years. I'd need at least 5 years to rebuild the rep of Marvel or DC. And in 5 years, it would be gangbusters. It would be absolute gangbusters. You had to remodel everything. Ardent, I'd recommend a few filmmakers during the transition. Get Tarantino, Scorsese to write comics. That'd be awesome. Yeah, they might do it for fun. I don't think you can get more than one or two, issues out of them. But yeah, that would be fun. It's tough, though, to coordinate that stuff, I think. But I would do it. I would also get big-name authors. Like back in the day, I always said that you would get Tom Clancy to write, Captain America for a miniseries, a big gangbusters. He'd probably do it. Chuck Dixon, he'd be another guy you could bring in. Put him in charge. He might be... I don't know how old Chuck is, though. He's up there, but I don't think he's too old. I think he's about Mike Barron's age. He'd be great. He'd be great to be in charge. But again, he's a writer too, and like me, would I want to do it? I want to write the comics. I don't want to be in charge of the comics. But yeah, you pay me some money. Ardent, Jim Butcher's written a Spider-Man novel. Maybe. But you need a hard reset of the entire universe. That's the thing. All this stuff can't be canon. You need to erase a bunch of it and just let people forget a bunch of stories and then pick and choose what the canon is and then go from there. They kind of did that with one of the relaunches at DC. Ardent, get some of the old Star Wars extended universe writers. I'll tell you another good guy who somehow survived. Christopher Priest. He's really good. I enjoyed his work. And he still works. There's a few. There's a handful of guys that are great. But there's a bunch of guys who have names Like, I would say Tom King, fire him. I would just fire him and put him on the never hire list. Um, and there's a couple of guys like that. Mike Grell was another guy. He was great. Howard Chaykin, of course. I would love to have Howard Chaykin come back and do a book. Any book, it wouldn't matter. I'd say pick a book. Yeah, we'll give you some money. But you need money and you need a plan. And there's no plan other than to, I don't know, hire a bunch of woke morons to write other woke moron stuff that then the movie industry can burn for movies. Seems to be the plan. How well's that working out? There's no quality control whatsoever in the comics, and then you're basing the movies on the comics? Not the new comics. You're supposed to be doing the classic comics. They literally own all of the comics now. Literally thousands of stories. And which ones are they picking now? Oh, they're moving all the way up into the modern era. Spider-Man Brand New Day. Bring back Liefeld, says Ardent. I like Liefeld as a person more than his work. I would bring him back on a book that wasn't his. Like, I'd bring him back for Moon Knight. I'd say, here, Rob, you want to do Moon Knight? Go nuts. Do whatever you want. And I'd just say, just do Moon Knight. And then once in a while, if you need another character, let me know. But go to town on Moon Knight for a couple of years. I wouldn't, if he wanted to do his original characters, I'd be like, not right now. Because I don't like his original characters, but he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. Deadpool I like. I guess you could call that an original character. Kind of derivative, but I'd bring him back for Deadpool. I mean, he created it. Would he even come back, though, is the question. I guess he would come back for enough money. He's at the point in his career, he would just do covers. I'd bring him back for covers. Get a young guy to do the interiors, have Rob do a cover for Deadpool or whatever. Because people like his art. I don't like it, but people like it. So, and if he wanted to do interiors, I would give him a book. But, Mike Allred, he's good. There's a few others. Although Mike Allred, his stuff was kind of like that, bridge the gap between the woke stuff. So his was so different, you couldn't really say it. He would go along with that stuff. I think his politics leans in that direction, but his stuff is so good, it doesn't matter. The stuff he was doing with X-Men was just so weird and crazy. He would be a guy I would just say, do an original book, do whatever you want, and we'll just figure out a way to incorporate it. Ardent, Rob Liefeld is the anti-Tarantino, absolutely hates feet. And hands. And chest and legs and arms. Scott Bakula, eyes return as President Archer in new series pitch for Star Trek United. Oh God, this sounds like the most boring Star Trek ever. I thought Starfleet Academy looked boring and stupid. I mean, I like Scott Bakula, but a Star Trek show about the president of Earth? What kind of show is that going to be? It's going to be the West Wing for sci-fi geeks? Let's talk about the various fictitious laws we're about to pass on transporter use. Oh boy, this should be an interesting show. Nobody wants to see a show about a politician running Earth. That sounds like the most boring show you could possibly think of for Star Trek. But okay. I think they just want an excuse to bring back Scott Bakula. But how about let Scott Bakula's character get catapulted into the future and then put him on another spaceship? I don't know. Here you go right here. HBO's medical drama The Pit Season 2 to address ICE raids, changes to Medicaid, and Big Beautiful Bill from Trump. See, this is the exact kind of thing. None of these guys have learned their lesson. They're still doing the politics. Strange New Worlds. This is Season 3. They're still doing politics in that. None of these guys have learned their lesson. And now maybe some of it's burning through the material they already had sitting around. They already shot last year or whatever. Doesn't matter. They should throw it away and start over. But they won't. They're going to save money. And it's too late now anyway. You can't make Strange New Worlds based now. They had an episode where Captain Pike says the Lord's Prayer on the bridge. And it was like a big deal. You ain't bringing those people back. You ain't bringing the religious. Well, now the religious people are all watching Star Trek, hoping he'd say the Lord's Prayer again. Like, you want to talk about pandering? Oh, they mentioned South Jersey in Star Trek, Tony. You're going to watch it now? No. No, I'm not. CBS CEO George Cheeks confirms The Late Show with Stephen Colbert was losing tens of millions of dollars per year. Confirmed. Oh, they had a big... Oh, my relatives, my older relatives who are all Democrats were like, oh, no, that's not true. I heard that wasn't true. Yeah, they weren't losing tens of millions of dollars. Trump just, used his abilities to get him fired. Blah, 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 blah. No, the show was losing money. Because who the F would watch this show other than my Democratic relatives who are 100% watching the news and they believe it 100%. So when Stephen Colbert has a meltdown on stage and talks about how Trump is burning democracy to the ground and then makes a crazy joke about or says something super vulgar about Trump, they go, yeah! That's not entertainment for most of the country now. Ardent, did anybody have Dean Cain joining ICE on their 2025 bingo card? I did not. I'm sort of confused as why he did it now. I guess he's just trying to help. Maybe he's going to do some sort of reality show? People follow him around with a camera, maybe? It's kind of weird. But I guess he's, maybe this is his version of volunteering. So he's going to join ICE and do a TV show, maybe. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the angle is they're going to do a reality TV show and they'll follow him around with a camera. But maybe not. I haven't heard of one. Ardent, I think he's really just trying to be patriot. It would be great reality show, though. Better than Steven Seagal Lawman. No, that is the greatest show I've ever seen. The most hilarious show. And we're going to pull over to this guy and see if he's got anything in his car. All right, Steven, I'm going to go talk to the suspect. He's going to go talk to the suspect now. We should wait here. Steven Seagal Lawman. I think we should wait here while I eat this Twinkie. Ardent LOL. Oh man, it's the greatest show ever. You can just tell everybody on that show keeps looking at Steven like, he's serious? Okay. I'm going to pretend like, all right, I'll pretend like he's in charge. Okay, I'll go do the real police work now. You know we can't let you over there, Steven, right? You're not a real cop. You just stay over here. It's like bringing the special kid along for the police patrols. Ardent honestly would not have been shocked if he had had a bandolier full of Twinkies. We're just going to wait here while he talks to the suspect. I'm just going to pull out one of the Twinkies. And he like shifts the bandolier so the next Twinkie's ready. Oh my God, he's so heavy now. Speaking of not being heavy, Dave Bautista is in negotiations to play the Kurgan in the Highlander. Why? Why cast Dave Bautista now? He got off the gear, didn't he? He looks like he deflated. How's that gonna work? Are you gonna put him in a now you're gonna put him in a bodysuit to make him look big? He would have been perfect if he was all jacked up. I think he would have been fine as a Kurgan jacked up. But now he looks like I don't know. He looks like somebody went pop. You know, he's Dave Bautista at 50%. He's not all jacked up like when he was Dax or when he was in the Knives Out movie. That's when you wanted to get him. JC, the original wasn't a bodybuilder. He's still tall. Is he that tall? Let's see how tall Dave Bautista is. I'm going to guess 6'2". 6'6". Oh, wow, he is tall. Ardent, why? He'll look like crap as a Kurgan. And to be fair, he does look like he's filled back out a little bit. Guess he's got the testosterone replacement out of his system. JC, yes, he's like 6'6". Huh. Clancy was 6'3". Huh. Well, I guess. Still, though, he's that tall and he was jacked? I guess he could play it. I guess. I don't know. I don't think he's a very good actor. Clancy was a good actor. He's a good actor. Ardent. Yeah, but is that a legit 6'6" or is that a WWE hype 6'6"? Well, he's obviously at least as tall as Clancy was. I think they made Clancy look even taller in the movie because they gave him that giant headdress, but Clancy's just a good actor. Dave Bautista's like, at all the wrestlers, he's probably the best one, but it's a low bar, I think. He's the most subtle out of all of them. I mean, he's really good as Dax, but that's almost like being a wrestler. The Kraken is here. Hello, Tony. Hope your evening is going well. It is the Kraken. Welcome. JC, he was pushed as WWE champion because he was so big. And there's Dean Cain joining Ice. How old is Dean Cain to be doing this stuff? I don't think he's too old, but probably too old to be doing this kind of stuff. There he is. He's 5'11" and a half. He was born in 66. He's my age. He's 59. Dude, I don't know, man. I wouldn't want to be an Ice. Ardent, Lambert is only 5'10", so there was a 5-inch difference in the original. Cavill is 6'1", almost 60. Yeah. Crack at 59. You guys are on it. Yeah, Cavill. I guess they need Batista to balance out Cavill. JC, 5'11" and a half. That means he's 5'9". Ardent, dude, I'm just 50. I wouldn't want to join Ice. I mean, that seems like it's gonna be a strain. But he was Superman. He was in shape. I'm not saying he had superpowers, but he was in shape at least. Ardent? Well, not for cheap unless they offer citizenship. They might. They're offering a $50,000 bonus if you sign up for ICE. I think, though, that's for returning ICE officers, the ones that got fired during the Biden administration. And that's a smart move, too, because those guys have experience. All right, let's see what's happening in the Hollywood Reporter. Last call for late night. After 70 years of tucking America into bed, it looks like the curtain is about to come down for the late night genre. What is being lost is more than a TV tradition, but a backdrop of some of America's most memorable moments. Oh, Jesus. Look, for the last time, it's over. Television as we know it is over. People don't watch TV because now there's the internet. TV was our internet. This is how we knew stuff that other people knew. So when you went to the water cooler at work or hung around in the break room and you talked to your friends, you talked about stuff you saw on TV before the internet. That's what it was. Now, everybody sees stuff on their phone or on the internet and it's instant. And they're talking about it, and they don't need television. Television's like yesterday's news. So late night is way even beyond that. Ardent, LOL, I'll join as the profanity decoy. I'll yell profanity and slurs at Home Depot crowd, and then when they try to chase me, I'll run around the corner. Yeah, you run around the corner, and then as the illegals chase you, they drop a big net. Like, as soon as you get underneath, they drop the net. But yeah, late night, everybody watched Johnny Carson when I was a kid. Everybody. I watched Johnny Carson. You'd watch the monologue, and if you really liked the guest, you might stay up late. Like, I was a kid, so I could stay up late. I sometimes did for certain guests. But, you know, after Johnny left, it was Dave until the internet came. And then no one cares. No one cares. Because now you find stuff, you don't find out anything on late night you don't already know. There's nothing on TV that isn't already known on the internet 10 seconds after it hasn't already happened. Ardent, up until Craig Ferguson was quitting, people were still watching. Yeah, but it was still starting to go away. It was all being eaten away. And now we're in a mode where 10 seconds after something happens, it's all over the internet. I can find it on X, right? And right now, X. Until the next app comes out, and then it'll be on that, whatever that is. So late night, everything that happens on late night, I'll see on the internet if anything was interesting. That's the way it works. And they spend too much money. They've gotten too political in an attempt to get attention to themselves. And, you know, they have political views that aren't popular anymore. It would be different if there was one. I mean, you look at Greg Gutfeld. Greg Gutfeld is the king of late night. Why? Because he's on the right side of politics. And that's popular. And all the time, it was popular, starting in 2016 when things started to turn around. He started going up and up and up, and everybody else started going down, 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 down the tubes. So they burned all their credibility and all their popularity on trying to keep Trump out of office. Oh, how'd that work out? Oh, not too well. Not too well. And this is the price you pay. They could fire people right now and put a bunch of, I don't know, they could put Dennis Miller behind the chair and let him go on and on about how the IRS is a evil machination of a terrible bureaucracy that we should get rid of, or whatever conservative point he would want to make. But it's too late. Most people are out of the habit. You'd have to rebuild the whole thing. JC, boomers still watch Fox News. That's why he does well. He does well because there's no other right wing. Like, as bad as Fox News is, for most people I know who are conservative or right wing, they all laugh at Fox News. They'll watch it, but they go, yeah, it's not great, but what else are you going to watch? It's the only one on TV, really. You can sort of count Newsmax, and I think there's one other, but they're, when you're talking about regular TV, people who have regular TV, yeah, that's the only one that's different. It's not even so much that it's right wing, it's different. It's not totally left wing like every other guy is. Like Jimmy Fallon actually had a shot at breaking the mold because I don't think he really wanted to do a lot of political stuff. I think he wanted to pull away from it. I think there were times when he was like, nah, I don't want to do this. And I think the producers pushed him to compete with Colbert and Kimmel, who at the time were getting, I guess you could call, good ratings. But it was good in context because it was an ever-shrinking pie. They were all shrinking, and Colbert just happened to be the guy who was getting the most out of that shrinking pie. If you discount Gutfield, which they did in order to say, oh, he's the king of late night. Not really. It was Gutfeld who was the king of late night. And, meanwhile, they're losing money. Like, it doesn't make any sense. They were losing money because Stephen Colbert burned his credibility on every political thing he could possibly do. JEC, they had good ratings for late night cable, which isn't good. Isn't good. We have a country of 350 million people, and maybe 1 million people would watch late night TV. Each major, Gutfield has 2.5 million maybe. The other ones had maybe 1 million. That's nothing. That's not even 1%. That's like a 0.3% of the population. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. These guys used to draw in all kinds of ratings. Nobody's watching these clowns. You don't need to. If you want to watch an interview with some celebrity, they're on every podcast known to man. There's old interviews of them. Any interview you can possibly think of is all over the internet. All you have to do is Google their name in YouTube, and 50 different interviews come up with the celebrity you want to hear. Why even watch the show? For his hilarious sketches? They're not hilarious anymore. Dave Letterman had hilarious sketches. Like, Letterman, you watched for the sketches. You didn't give a S about the celebrities. Like, Dave's doing stupid pet tricks tonight? Oh, I'm totally watching that. But now, what are you going to watch? You're going to watch Colbert try to struggle through another stupid thing where he bashes Trump? You're going to watch Jimmy Kimmel make an idiot out of himself as he drags out one of his relatives to do some lame-ass comedy bit? No. Greg Gutfeld, at least, he has some fresh ideas in that department because he's just sort of talking off the cuff. Ardent, I miss Stupid Human Tricks and the top 10 list. Yeah. The Kraken, I enjoyed Conan. Conan had great comedy bits. He had great sketches. He was a writer on The Simpsons when it was good. He was in the Harvard Lampoon. Guy knows how to write his comedy. Ardent, Crowder's countdowns just aren't the same. Nah, they're not. Crowder tries. He's not that funny. He's okay. He's too political too. It's just that his politics don't really bother me. Usually. Yeah, Crowder doesn't really often go for the comedy jugular. I rarely laugh out loud at Crowder. And I watch his show off and on all the time. I like it. I'm amused by it, but I don't laugh out loud on it. His parodies are a little too close. The Kraken, never thought Crowder was funny. Yeah, I tell you, Dave Landau, when he was on, I would laugh out loud at some of his jokes. He was pretty good. His new comedian buddy is this guy, Josh Firestein, I think his name is. He's okay. Once in a while, he has a good zinger. But it's not like Artie Lang. Like, Artie in his heyday was pretty damn funny. But, you know, the only thing that's really funny with Crowder is sometimes he'll get a guest on and then he'll make a joke and it'll be like, some senator, and you'll be like, oh man, he made that joke in front of the senator, and that's kind of edgy, but that's about it. And sometimes when he goes out on the street and does something that looks like a guy's gonna punch him. Kraken, yes, Dave was very funny. Ardent, I gave up watching when Quarter Black left. Yeah, he's got his own show with Landau now. I kind of couldn't get into it. I mean, they do sketches, and then they do... I'll tell you, the guy who's very funny and should have got his own show is Kyle Dunningham. He's really funny. He does impersonations, and he does, like... He takes, the faces, and he puts them over his face, like in a filter, so the lips move. He does everybody. Ardent. Thought I did like Pops Crowder. Though I did like Pops Crowder. Yeah, he's kind of based. Kind of funny. Like, I don't dislike Crowder. It's just not laugh out loud funny. It's just like, it's good morning drive time kind of stuff to listen to. And, then he goes... I guess some of the really funny stuff is probably, behind the paywall, but I haven't paid for it, so I don't know that for sure. Maybe they're doing stuff that's a little more hardcore behind the paywall I don't know about. But I like it, My rotation, I usually listen to Sticks and Hammer in the morning. He's usually my go-to guy. I used to be more into the quartering with Jeremy, but lately I've kind of grown tired of his shtick. I'm not sure why. I worry that he's sometimes gone too far in some of the stuff he said. I didn't like it. And then I started watching some of Asmongold's takes. And for the last 2 weeks, I've been watching him off and on. And then he said something stupid the other day that I thought was really authoritarian, and I kind of got turned off by that. I don't know. I go back and forth. And I watch James Lindsay when I have time. JC, Crowder is lame, but at least he has less than 12 employees. Colbert had over 200. Yeah. Colbert has no excuse with all the money they were funneling into that show to be not funny. That should have been the funniest show on the planet. But it's a problem when you have too many people on a comedy show. It really is. You need somebody, and the problem is Colbert, I think, was more concerned with the politics than he was with the comedy. That wasn't always true. I think in the past, he would have been a great guy to steer that into the funny, but he decided to burn his career on politics, I think. Ardent, I have 2 mugs from Crowder. You didn't miss much. Yeah, like, he'll do this parody of, like, a music video, like Nirvana or whatever, and then he'll change the words, and the song will be pretty close, but it's just not that funny. Like, it's okay. Like, it sounds like the song, but it's, the best thing with Crowder, I think, is his impersonations are great. I do like his impersonations. I love his Trump. I love to listen to his Trump. I wish I could do it. I'm so jealous I can't do that Trump impersonation. He goes right into it. And whenever he reads Trump, he's doing the impersonation. That's always fun for me. Let's see. JC, musical parodies are hack. You can have if you have a really good one, Not, yeah. You can do a good one, but I think they're rare. You know, they're not always great, but like Weird Al has a really good one. Um, I don't even know the song, but it's about going through the drive-through. It's about this like young couple. They decide to go. They don't know where to eat, and then eventually they decide to go to the drive-through to get a sandwich. And it's about their ordeal, and it's super detailed. It's a pretty funny video. Ardent Weird Al was the gold standard. Yeah, he has the energy behind it, you know, and I like some good Weird Al. The Kraken, yeah, Weird Al is good. I'm stuck in the drive-through. Yeah, that's it. I really like that one. Ardent, it's based on that Mellencamp song about Jack and Diane. Uh, Stuck in the drive-through. No, I think it's another. I think it's like an R&B ballad. The Kraken, based on some rap guy's 10-minute song about being stuck in the closet or something. Right? Yes, yes, that's the song. And it's about him and his wife just being annoyed with each other, and they just we'll just go to the drive-through and get a sandwich, and they screw up their order, and it's just all terrible. JC, R. Kelly stuck in the closet. I think that's it. Yeah. And that makes it kind of funny because R. Kelly's a total weirdo, I think. What else? JC, Stuck in the Closet is a parody of itself. Yeah, maybe. James Marsden says it feels like a homecoming to reprise Cyclops' role for Avengers Doomsday. I don't know if anybody's going to see this movie, Doomsday. I think this could be a total flop for the MCU. Like a real flop. Like, people just don't go. I mean, I don't know, man. They got 60 characters appearing in this thing. I think that's too many. JC, it's not 10 minutes. It does it on for an entire. It does go on for an entire album. By the end, he catches AIDS or something. Well, the Weird Al one doesn't go on that long. It goes on for like a standard 2 minutes. Ardent, yeah, I think Disney's in trouble. Yeah, I think they're just in a collapse. I think people are just, the normies are just done with this stuff. Like they're kind of done with Star Wars. Most people are done with Star Wars. Like, I'll never forget, I'm walking my dog and I ran into this woman in my neighborhood, and she had two dogs, and I asked her the names, and one was Trooper, and I forget the other dog's name, but it had another name related to Star Wars. And she was super into Star Wars and telling me how her family's going to Star Wars land. And this was not a woman you would have pegged as a Star Wars fan back in the day when Star Wars was new. That was a geek thing. If you had mentioned it to a woman like this, they would have been like, Star Wars? I don't watch Star Wars. I don't know what's a Star Wars. But she was completely into it in the way that not like a fan would be into, but in a way that a woman would, or even a guy, but more so women, are into something that's popular, right? It wasn't something she was really, into. It was something she's into because everybody else is into it. And I don't think she really knew the lore at all, but she was very excited about it. And that's when I knew, like, they've ruined Star Wars. They made a lot of money with it to get somebody like that into it, but her, interest in Star Wars was only going to last until it stopped being popular. And the moment it stopped being popular, someone like her would be out. And her kids would be out too. her husband, everybody would be out. Everybody would be out. Like my brother is one of the last holdouts. He loves Star Wars. He used to watch the first movie every day for like years coming home from school. It was on HBO continuously in the 80s. And he loved it. But, you know, even he was like, oh man, some of these movies. And, but he still watches all the Star Wars stuff. But he's a diehard fan. Like, he loves it. And it's something from his childhood, and he always remembers it. But, like, most normies now, yeah, it was a fad, and it's done. And I don't think Disney should greenlight a single thing with Star Wars for 20 years. They should just put it on the shelf and pretend like, you know, wait 20 years, and then hopefully by then Disney will either sell it and get some of its money back, or they will find new talent and have a CEO that, in my view, would be more competent and would understand talent. Ardent, I'm still a Star Wars fan, but I can't give it my money now. Yeah, I think that's where people are. I think they're just approaching that for the MCU. I think they're reaching the point that I'm already at. I'm not going to pay for these movies. What are you, nuts? I'm not going to the movies and paying money to see an MCU film. Are you kidding me? No, I'll wait. I'll wait to hear about it. And then if it's super cool or whatever, maybe I'll somehow stream it. Maybe one of my friends will have Disney Plus or whatever. But now I'll tell you what looks amazing. One Piece. And here, One Piece early season 3 renewal at Netflix. And there's a reason it's renewed. That show looks amazing. It's really, I watched that first episode. It was really good. It's a really good show. I wouldn't mind going back if I had some time and watching the entire run. It's a quality show. I just don't have the time to invest in something that long. But that's a show. It's totally on point with its creator and most of its creation, although they're race swapping some of the characters in the third season. But most people don't know these characters anyway, so it's not that big a deal. But Frankenstein in Romania. Sebastian Stan set to star in film that Radu Jude is writing. Frankenstein in Romania. Okay, so another Frankenstein movie. Pee Wee Herman's Bike debuts at the Alamo on the 40th anniversary of Pee Wee's Big Adventure. And in case you don't know, that was one of the jokes, that his bike was in the basement of the Alamo. I believe that was the joke from the movie. What's wrong, Joan? You want to get down? You bored? Be in the show? Here you go. So that's kind of fun. I forgot the exact line. I think it was, his bike is in the basement of the Alamo. That was part of the plot, right? LOL, that's hilarious, says Ardent. RZA on his new film One Spoon of Chocolate and his growth as a filmmaker. Okay, so I guess RZA's doing a movie. The legendary rapper and music producer's fourth film debuted at the Tribeca Film Festival this year. Okay. What the heck's this about? Tells the story of Unique, a military veteran and former convict who is trying to get his life back together and travels to the small town of Karensville to live with his cousin Ramsey, only for both to be hounded by a gang of racists with connections to the town's corrupt cops after a fatal incident. Unique seeks out the gang to exact brutal justice. Maybe. I like revenge flicks. Ardent, LOL, that's hilarious. Action revenge flick according to the first paragraph. Oh, good God, Karensville? Yeah, that sounds a little too on the nose. Yeah. What you got here, Joan? It's some, like a seed? Is that a seed or something? There you go. Yeah, I don't know. But if you're interested in rappers making films, there you go. Here's another two rappers. 2 Chainz and Omar Epps. Hollywood First. Co-starring with Tupac, rap cameos, filming Red, Clay, and more. Okay. Joan, how did you get this stuff in your hair? You're a dog. All right, going over to Bounding in the Comics. Oh, this was a news this week. Leaked My Adventures with Green Lantern casting call info reveals new origin for Jessica Cruz. Will she be another girl boss? My prediction, yes. I think these are the same people who did My Adventures with Superman, which seemed like a girl bossy Lois Lane with a pixie haircut. I don't even know who Jennifer Cruz is. I think she was added to the comic later. JC, I'm not even interested in rappers making music, let alone movies. Yeah, I'm not interested in this. This already looks... Look at this still. This screams girl boss. Oh, female Green Lantern lady. Don't be mad at me, okay? I'm just a white male. I don't know what I'm doing. Don't worry. I'll save us both. That is my prediction for that show. All right, looking at Deadline. Seth MacFarlane wishes TV was less dystopian and pessimistic. Give people hope. Well, I have to agree with that. I have to agree with Seth MacFarlane on that. That's why he did the Orville. I still don't like the Orville, man. It's just, dude, either do sci-fi and be hopeful or do comedy and be funny. That's it. Don't try to do both. Ardent, Jessica Cruz was the inheritor of an alternate universe ring that wasn't really a Green Lantern ring and suffered from agoraphobia and was eventually the 5th Green Lantern from Earth. Okay. That sounds abysmally convoluted and stupid. But thank you for that info. Jesus. What are they doing at DC? Yeah, I'd like to see more happy shows, Seth MacFarlane. Just happy in tone. It doesn't have to be like everything works out for the character. Just like the good guys win and it's all good. That's all I want to see. I don't want to see like SVU where there's a victim and everybody sucks and there's corruption and then the bad guy gets away. Like, I don't want to see that. It's depressing. I can't watch those shows anymore. There's too many of them. Ardent, Scott, Jordan, Gardner, Stewart, Rayner, Cruz. She was the 6th. Oh, okay. Ardent, 5th if you don't count the Silver Age Green Lantern with the Magic Lantern. Well, they retcon that to actually be a Green Lantern ring, but not really. Sharon Stone is trying to make a Phyllis Diller biopic? I'm desperate to play her. Sharon Stone? Maybe. She doesn't really look like her, but I mean, with some prosthetics, I'm sure they could make her look like Phyllis Diller. I remember Phyllis Diller. You guys probably don't. She was a female comedian. She was pretty funny back in her day. She was before Joan Rivers, or a contemporary of Joan Rivers, maybe. She was on Laugh-In. Imagine if there was a witch and she was really funny. That was kind of like Phyllis Diller's shtick. Like, not supernatural witch, but the way she talked and cackled kind of reminded me of a witch. But like a fun witch. All right, more on the box office, Joan. You filthy faced animal. Jackie Chan. Ardent, seriously? I'd be kind of interested in that. I loved Phyllis Diller, mostly saw her on Hollywood Squares and reruns of Match Game. She was more a Betty White contemporary. Jackie Chan says new Hollywood movies lack quality because studios focus too much on money. They're not filmmakers, they're business guys. Yeah, that is fair. They just don't, I don't think they have any respect for the talent whatsoever anymore. All right, moving on to Bleeding Fool. DC's Donna Troy gets watered down in latest comic series. I don't even want to click on the link. I'm so disinterested. Donna Troy. Superman 2 in the works as DC Studios details 10-year film and TV plan. Oh boy. Let's get the update on this. 10 years. All right. Oh, we don't have a bullet points? The Batman Part 2 is scheduled to begin next spring for release in 2027. Film projects, television projects, Supergirl, Wonder Woman, A Woman of Tomorrow, Clayface, that's going to be a TV show, Wonder Woman, the Penguin series. I really don't think you should do a season 2 of that, but they will. New season of Peacemakers, won't watch it, and the Lantern series set for 2026. That doesn't sound like 10 years worth of stuff. But okay. This is all the stuff we knew about. That's not 10 years worth of stuff. Fantastic Four First Steps is Marvel's biggest bomb since the Marvels. Really? How do you figure? Let's see. After 10 days, 2 weekends, this well-reviewed Marvel entry sits at just 198 million. So this was a few days ago. 56% drop. The drop was 68%, a lot worse than the 56% drop for Thunderbolts. Overseas impact mirrors the domestic box office, but for weekend 2 it collapsed to 39.6 million. The money is simply not following. It could mean the film may fail to break 500 million threshold worldwide. It probably won't. Thunderbolts was a disappointment. It will lose more than 100 million for Disney. With a budget of 400 million, including production and promotion, that earned only about 350 million the first month in theaters. Yeah, here are the characters from Thunderbolts. Here are the real characters from Thunderbolts. The only one that's from the movie, I think, is Bucky. There he is there. Yeah, none of these guys were in it. So, they're talking about Thunderbolts, but yeah, they didn't spend as much, allegedly, on the Fantastic Four. So, What else? What else? Oh, this was a lot of people were talking about War of the Worlds remake, and apparently, let's go to the Rotten Tomatoes, because apparently this got like a 0% at one point. There we go, Rotten Tomatoes. There it is. 3%. It's up to 3%. 21% for the fans. But this looks stupid. I mean, it looks so stupid. Can I read? I want to read the comments. Let's see. Not the critics' reviews. I want to read the audience reviews. Lost a bet and had to watch it tonight. After seeing all the hate everywhere about this, obviously my expectations were low. Yes, it was bad, but it was fun and ridiculous. Stupid. I actually kind of liked it. Really? This looked dumb as hell. One guy just wrote, ass. Ice Cube, future Oscar winner. Best visual effects, best acting, best storyline, best movie ever. I think they're just trolling. Worst movie I've ever seen. Horrible CGI. I feel soulless. It's not the best. It was a modern version of War of the Worlds. Could have been a lot better, but it was watchable. Arden, I forgot who said it. I think it was Doomcock, but someone mentioned you could see the reflection of the green screen in his glasses. Oh, man. All right, let's read the critics. It's certainly stupid, but also has a great deal of fun. A risible attempt to modernize a classic. It's silly, shoddy, and features far too much rapper-turned-leading man Ice Cube staring at a computer screen. Director Rich Lee butchers the classic H.G. Wells parable. Amazon War of the Worlds is a shockingly inept adaptation that would have had H.G. Wells rolling in his grave. A story this big needs to be opened up, not confined to browser windows. So, I just like to read the bad ones. Agnes, this is not absolute cinema. Ass. Okay, why'd they even bother? This movie is a crime. This movie is so bad someone needs to go to jail for making it. Yeah, so that's pretty much was my take when I looked at the trailer. Like, I couldn't understand why you would cast. Actually, you could see the green screen here, I think, in his glasses. Although it could be a screen. But like, why would you cast Ice Cube, of all people, one of the singers in NWA, as a guy who works for the government? Like, it doesn't make any sense. He absolutely would not pass for that. His voice, it'd be different if he was, a really good actor. Like, he's not the worst actor in the world, but he doesn't have a range. You can't put him in this role and expect it to be good. He'll just be Ice Cube as a computer guy working for the government. There's no way he should have been cast in this role. Like, as a cop, he kind of works because cops can be as crude and obnoxious as rappers. And he could be sort of rough around the edges, and that works. Like, a guy like this, it doesn't make any sense. Oh, and then he's got kids, and he's trying to get the kids safe home using his computer knowledge. Please. And apparently they jammed a bunch of Amazon stuff in this too. Just, I don't know, I guess for product placement? Yeah, Amazon. Hey, you really need to advertise that company so more people hear about it. I mean, I talked to somebody the other day, and they went, Amazon, huh? Is that a thing? And I'd be like, yeah, it's a big company. I can't believe you haven't heard of it. Said no one ever. Oh, my God. All right, the wrap. Weapons scores a frighteningly good $42.5 million. Mike Huckabee accuses CBS News of intentionally editing Gaza interview for a different story. I wouldn't be surprised. But who the hell watches CBS News for news anymore? Again, 80-year-old people maybe, but... Greg Gutfeld was actually on Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show. In case you didn't know. I know you don't care. And they mocked Stephen Colbert, or he did anyway. So, again, I think Jimmy Fallon is the guy who's willing to at least open up his platform a little bit and just say, screw it, I just do a stupid show. Anybody should be able to come on. Ardent, LOL, I remember it now. It was Bill from Broken Crown who said he could see the reflection of the green screen. He mentioned product placement after, which reminded me of the product placement in... I'll come back to you. In Double Team, back when product placement was not only unsubtle, but it was so prominent that in Double Team, a Coca-Cola vending machine saved the heroes from an explosion. Ardent, wait for it. Bernie Sanders says influence of very wealthy people. Let me read it as Bernie.
Bernie Sanders says influence of very wealthy people caused Kamala Harris defeat in 2024. It's broken and corrupt, and I am a communist.
Who cares what you say, Bernie? Just retire. Why don't these people retire, Joan? You'd retire if you had millions of dollars and several houses, wouldn't you, Joan? Wouldn't you? You would. I know you would, doggy. Would you give me some money, too? I hope you would. Ardent, so people like Bernie? No, I think the rap likes Bernie. Cosmic Book News. There's more on the set from Spider-Man Brand New Day. Fantastic Four box office facing another huge drop, worse than Thunderbolts. X-Men 97 creator rips Marvel. Horrible meanings, no respect for comics. Yes! I don't think these guys read anything. But more importantly, they don't respect. It would be different. They don't have to read them. They should. They don't have to. If they're going to just, hire competent people and say, okay, do the thing, whatever it is. But you micromanage your creatives, you F this all up. And that's what I think they did. Ardent, no, I mean wealthy people like Bernie were in the reason Kamala lost. That's funny. Anna de Armas, reportedly eyed for big role at Marvel. What's that character? Cersei, I think. Okay, as long as she's in something tight. She's pretty cute. Todd Stashwick joins Marvel's Vision Quest as Paladin. Okay. So it's about time they dug up the Paladin. Joseph Quinn calls Avengers Doomsday exciting and scary. You better hope. James Gunn fires back at Superman budget talk as box office slows. Again, I think the movie's in the black. Ardent, I'd rather she played Silk, personally, though might be a bit creepy seeing her all over Tom Holland. Anna de Armas could do that. She could do Cyclops if they put her in the new X-Men. Ardent, Paladin. We got Paladin before we got Silver Sable. Yeah, Silver Sable. Maybe that'll be Anna de Armas. Ardent or Black Cat. Yeah, she could do that too. I think she's a little old for Black Cat because I think they're skewing Tom Holland kind of young, but they'd probably go with a younger chick for that. But I think they're going to recast all the X-Men, so she might end up as Jean Grey, was my initial prediction. James Marsden on Cyclops' return. Maybe I'm not dead in Avengers Doomsday. I would think you would not be dead, but who knows? Goosebumps got canceled at Disney Plus after 2 seasons. I'm kind of surprised because this show, everybody talks about Goosebumps, but I don't know, maybe it was no good. I didn't see it. If you want to read about the Fantastic Four alternate endings and cut scenes, you can. Here on Cosmic Book News. They talk about, the alternate endings where the Earth is destroyed and the Fantastic Four escape into another universe. And because the Silver Surfer kills Galactus with some stupid MacGuffin. Not sure how the one that came out ended. And more on Gina Carano. Could she return to Star Wars after Disney's settlement? I don't know why you would. After getting burned that badly that you had to sue them. Seems like it'd be tempting fate that they'd be out to get you if you screwed something up. And, there'd be no way you could, for instance, say to your boss, imagine you do this and then come back to Disney and then, you have a medical issue or family emergency and Disney's like, oh, you're leaving, huh? Well, that'll be a breach of contract. They'll play hardball with you then, I would think. They'd be looking to get you. I don't know. I wouldn't trust them. Over at That Park Place, parents are homeschooling their kids at Walt Disney World? Okay, kids, if you have 2 Mickeys and you add 4 animatronic presidents, what? An educator's perspective on the positives and negatives. I don't know why you would homeschool your kids in Disneyland. It seems very stupid. Or Disney World. Because you want to spend money and educate your kids? You want to try to get them to do homework while they're riding Space Mountain? It makes no sense at all. You got too much money if you can even afford to do this. Disney Abu Dhabi could be primarily an indoor park. Mural CEO claims outdoor theme park would never work. Well, pretty hot, I gotta imagine, in Abu Dhabi. It's desert, right? So that seems like a good idea. Universal scores major talent from Disney and former Imagineer becomes creative director. So I was saying in Hollywoke Hot Take, that's probably good if you have a guy he was at Disney for 20 years and now you're getting him. But if he's only been there for 2 years, he could be a DEI hire and you're making a big mistake. But I would imagine he's a guy with 30 years. Else they wouldn't want him, probably. All right, looking over at Breitbart. Bunch of politics, as long as I'm rich. But getting into the entertainment, Bravo star Jenner Welch. Star? Use the word star? How about person on Bravo? Says ban Trump voters from Mexican and Chinese restaurants. Yeah, that should work. Yeah, we'll just have someone standing at the door of Mexican and Chinese restaurants everywhere asking them who they voted for. That'll totally work. That's a totally sane suggestion from a sane person. Watch Democrat surrogate Jimmy Kimmel sobbing over repulsive liberals driving people away from Democratic Party. So Jimmy Kimmel is upset because some repulsive liberals drove people away from the Democratic Party, everybody. Huh. Imagine that. I don't know how that happened. I wonder which repulsive liberals he's talking about. What repulsive liberals? Are there any repulsive liberals who have their own TV show, perhaps? Maybe cry a lot on stage about various things? Who thought, oh, the people who didn't get a certain medical procedure should just probably die outside the hospital and not be allowed in. I wonder what repulsive liberals he's talking about. Maybe one that did a dance about a medical procedure that should have been voluntary and probably shouldn't have happened at all. Maybe should have been tested a little more. I don't know. Can my voice go any higher? Shut up, Jimmy. God. Photo. Sydney Sweeney's brother posts good jeans joke to celebrate Air Force promotion. So that's Sydney Sweeney's brother. So there he is. And there's more Sydney Sweeney. And there's, Lizzo. This is Lizzo doing like a song about jeans. I'm not gonna play it. You don't want to see it. I played it for myself, and it was not good. Ardent, it's a real mystery how Jimmy Kimmel manages to stuff all that estrogen into a package that still appears to be male. I don't know. And here's John Nolte's review of Weapons, a genius masterpiece of horror. So he really liked it. He doesn't usually get that hyperbolic about a movie, so sounding like the Weapons movie is really good. Modern Family star has no regrets about abandoning LA for Utah. Oh yeah, good, smart move. I don't know how you could live in LA. It just caught on fire again. It literally just caught on fire again. I get the F out. I don't know. I have friends who live in LA. I don't know how they do it. I'm afraid to talk to them about their situation because I'm afraid they'll be like, oh no, it's fine. You know, that it's really bad, but they're trying to convince themselves it's not that bad, and that because they can't leave. But people will live where they want to live, but I feel bad. Like, it just looks so awful out there. It's probably exaggerated, but I mean, it looks really bad. Kristi Noem trolls Vance. Kristi Noem trolls Vance takes high road after South Park targets them in ICE episode roast. So this was the episode that everybody got their panties in a bunch on X about. Kristi Noem used a still to recruit for ICE. J.D. Vance and Charlie Kirk both said, oh, cool, we're on South Park. So I don't know why people were getting so bent out of shape on X about it. Like, who cares? If you don't like the show, don't watch it. I like South Park. I haven't seen it in years, but I want to watch these episodes. And these were some of the more recently higher rated episodes because everybody's watching it because of the controversy. So why do you think they did it? Everybody's like, oh, they didn't do enough about Biden. They didn't do anything about Biden. It's not fair. It's not fair. Biden was kind of boring and depressing anyway. Maybe the ratings weren't going to be there if they did Biden. It's too easy. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't feel like doing it. South Park's roasted a lot of people. And if they haven't specifically targeted the politicians, they've certainly specifically targeted the issues. I don't think you can Can't give him that. Ardent, Atlantic Canada is on fire. Oh no. Nova Scotia and New Brunswick told their people they couldn't go into the woods. Where are the bears supposed to go poo? Newfoundland just jacked up the fines for breaking fire bans, which is fair given that the day the fire bans were announced, some absolute asshats in that way decided to light bonfires. And also, the biggest wildfire here looks to be arson caused. And also, good friggin' luck keeping Newfoundlanders, a culture built on poaching, smuggling, and piracy, out of the woods. I have a theory about your fires, and it is this. You know how, like, PETA steals animals, euthanizes animals, and basically does a bunch of things? If you just look at the surface of PETA, you'd go like, oh, they can't possibly do that. They love animals, right? No, it turns out some of them have done some pretty terrible things to animals. I think the climate guys are doing the same thing to wooded areas. I think some of them are lighting the fires on purpose. Because the idea being like, well, if we can't get these people on board to save the planet, we'll accelerate it now in hopes of waking people up, and then they'll know, and then something will happen, which is a terrible strategy which would not work and just going to do a bunch of damage. Ardent, oh yeah, there are loads of cases where the fires are going to be caused by arson, and yeah, PETA are absolute scumbags. In the case of LA, I strongly suspect that it was just real estate guys through cutouts hiring guys to then hire homeless people, or just give homeless people, here, you need to keep warm, here's a bunch of stuff to light a fire. And it gave them that stuff just so they eventually would set the Palisades on fire at the worst possible time. Because I think they want to build a smart city. And now, one article I saw, I don't know where it is, said that there's a real estate guy coming in and he's buying up all the homes because everybody's it's starting to collapse. Everybody's just selling off their plot of land because nobody wants to rebuild, apparently. Partly because LA won't give anybody a permit. I think they've only given like 3 people permits, some really low number, even after Karen Bass said, oh yeah, we're going to cooperate and we're going to give everybody permits and they're going to be rebuilding in a week. Nope. Hasn't happened. Hardly anybody has rebuilt or even gotten the permission to rebuild. And that's just one permit. When you build a house, even, under these circumstances, you're going to have to, number one, tear out all the old stuff if it's a total loss. And some of that stuff is, depending on how old the house is. Like, if you have a really old house, you might have asbestos in the insulation or something. Probably not in LA, but you might have some other chemical thing in some material in the house that has to be removed first by some sort of specialist who also needs a permit to come in there and remove it all. And he might have a whole team, and it might take forever to get permission and permits and whatever. Then you can start the work, depending on how big of a teardown it is. And then, you're going to need inspectors on top of that and everything else. So I can't imagine the amount of money it's going to cost to rebuild. It's probably going to cost more to rebuild than it is to just bulldoze the whole city and start over, which I think was exactly the plan, because I think they want to turn that area of LA into a smart city. The idea being, it's going to be super green. You're going to live within 15 minutes of everything. Everything's going to be electric, and nobody's going to go anywhere. And, by the way, to keep the city safe, for you, we're going to have a special thing on your phone, and that's going to get you in and out of the place. And no one else can get it, so that way no one else can come in. See how that works? It's foolproof, right? except when somebody hacks it, except when somebody just borrows somebody else's phone or just climbs over the wall or whatever criminals decide to do, because they're criminals and they don't listen to the rules. But this is going to be the prototype of the first smart city where they try to sneak in some sort of, social credit system. So you'll be able to live in the neighborhood, but then there'll be some sort of caveat that you have to do certain things, And at first it'll be like things that you could see getting you kicked out of, say, a homeowners association, right? You're going to have to mow your lawn. You're going to have to keep your house up. You're going to have to do certain things. And if you don't do them, then your score will be lowered. And if it goes below a certain threshold, then they're going to kick you out. So that's what they do in China, only it's much more draconian. But see, here they're going to try to soft pedal it, I believe. And this is sort of laying the groundwork so later they can do it more like the Chinese. So it's sort of like wedging the door open just a little bit to get that social credit score in there. Ardent, JFC, imagine a city with HOA attitudes, hellish. Yeah. And it's on top of all that, it's just not going to work. The problem, of course, is the state of California is so completely poorly run. Everything costs way too much. The taxes are through the roof. It's not going to, either the entire state has to collapse, Gavin Newsom has to go, and they have to elect a Republican who's going to just rip out all the bureaucracy at its roots. It's going to have to get so bad that they just sweep the Republicans into office. Like in New Jersey. New Jersey's on the verge of going completely red in the next election. Now, we're probably going to get the kind of Republicans that are sort of conservative, but not really. But people are sick of the taxes here. I think we have the second highest property taxes, maybe after Hawaii or California. The second highest. They're very high. I don't know what you guys pay where you are, but like, my friend in the middle of the state pays, I think he pays $15,000 a year. That's a tax on the house that you own that just goes to the state. Like, he owns the house. I don't think he owns it outright. I think he's still paying a mortgage, but that's just to the government. That's not to, pay for the house. That's just to pay for the taxes on the house. And even if he pays off that house, he'll still owe that $15,000 a year. And then that money is supposed to go to, mainly it goes to schools in New Jersey, but also goes to your garbage and stuff like that. But there are towns further north in New Jersey, they don't even have garbage collection anymore. You have to pay a separate fee on top of the property taxes because the property taxes aren't enough to cover your garbage. And then they don't even take all the garbage. They take most of the garbage, and some of it you got to put in your car and truck it all over to the public works. Ardent, Tony, New Jersey is going red. Me, oh God, you poor bastards. Tony, huh? No, that's the Republicans. Me, oh right, the good guys. Wear red down there, not the liberals. And Sydney Sweeney in a bikini. Yes. Filbert Coffee Esquire. I moved to New Jersey, from New Jersey to West Virginia. Now I pay $1,500 a year on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and 2 acres. Nice. Yeah, West Virginia has the cheapest rates. Although I think some states don't even have property taxes. There's a few of them that abolished it. And they should be abolished. Especially for old people. Like, there's no way someone who spent their entire life working, who owns a house, should pay property taxes. They should just not have to pay. Ardent, god damn. So yeah, property taxes are a huge issue here. So Jack Citarelli, who's running for the Republican governorship, will probably pay a bunch of lip service to lowering them, and then in the end give us some sort of stupid rebate, which will be temporary only if a Republican's in the office. So that's how it worked out last time with Chris Christie. They gave us a rebate. So they gave us like, I don't know, $500 or something. And it was stupid. What we need is for you to lower the damn taxes and eliminate them. But the only way you can lower the taxes is to cut the programs, so you don't have the overhead anymore. But the overhead here is so high. So like we pay for, another thing we pay for is police unions, teachers unions, and stuff like that. The unions make everything more expensive. Garbage men unions. Now my little town, we don't have all that. We have some of it. And we have excellent trash service, by the way. Our public works guys, mwah, they'll take anything. You put it on the curb, it disappears. Doesn't matter what it is. I put an entire king-size bed, mattresses, headboards. I put it all on the curb on the right day. It was all gone. Ardent. Chris Christie? Oh, right. Hey, what was it like having the Cookie Monster for a governor? Well, he used his the governor's helicopter. The governor here has a helicopter, apparently, to go to his son's Little League game once. He famously went to the beach in the middle of COVID when he told everybody else to stay home. But the big thing he did was he got into a big fight with, I think it was the mayor of Fort Lee. That's up north, across from New York. And he screwed the mayor of Fort Lee by doing something to the traffic patterns on the George Washington Bridge. So everything got effed up and backed into Fort Lee and screwed everything up. And there was a big kerfuffle about it. And then one of Chris Christie's underlings had to basically sacrifice his career in order to save Christie from being possibly indicted, or in order to save him in the governorship. Like, really, he let one of his underlings fall on their sword and take the blame, and then he got ousted. I don't know, maybe he got some sort of payoff, but I'll say that he tried to fight the unions here and lost. At one point, he was fighting the unions who do garbage, and some of the people in that union also do snow plowing. So one winter, he got into a fight with them, and they went on strike in the middle of a snowstorm, and then people died because the ambulances couldn't get the people because they wouldn't plow. That was bad. And he didn't really make any headway. He took on the teachers union kinda, but it didn't really work. The problem is our legislature, when he was in, was mostly blue. I think we had one of the houses by a slim margin. But see, Jack Citarelli is likely to get both houses by a decent margin, or a slim margin. So that would change the ball game here. So we could he would have the ability to slash a bunch of stuff, but he'd have to slash those programs. He'd have to cancel them. But people up north would squeal if he starts canceling programs left and right. But he should. He should. And a lot of the guys, it's going to be tough to get the legislature to go along with those cuts. But he should be cutting. We need a Doge for New Jersey. We need guys to come in, and say, oh, you're wasting all this money. Get rid of this and this and this. He should get rid of the teachers union 100%. I would be in favor of getting rid of the cop unions, but good luck. I would get rid of all the unions, really, but that's going to be really tough in this state, like super tough. He'd be one termer if he successfully got rid of all the unions. He'd probably be one term, and then the next guy would come in and bring them all back. But it might save a lot of money, and then it might take a while to do that. So it could all work out for him if he was really bold and full of leadership. But I don't think he is. I think he wants to get reelected at least once, because you can do 2 terms here as governor, and then you're done. So that's the only reason Phil Murphy is leaving, our current governor. And he's, of course, setting a bunch of traps for Citarelli if he wins. So, pray for New Jersey. But getting back to the South Park thing, a lot of people on X bitched and moaned about it. And I was a little surprised. I was just like, guys, this is what we should do. You know, for people on the right, this is what you should do. I don't really consider myself right wing. I'm a libertarian, but this is what right wingers need to do in terms of this culture stuff. Ignore it because it doesn't matter, right? This isn't indoctrinating kids. South Park isn't for children. No one thinks it's indoctrinating anyone. Yeah, is it biased? I'm sure you can make a good argument that South Park is biased. Although Trey and Parker and Stone have made a lot of noise about being more libertarian. So really, I don't think they are the top problem in the culture. I think that's Disney. I think that's Warner Brothers. They control a lot more. South Park, I mean, really, this is like problem, if it's even a problem, like number 50 out of 100. Maybe. Only because it's one of the biggest shows. And really, for the quality of the show, are you going to go after South Park and complain about South Park? In another week, this will all be forgotten. So what? Ardent, our postal union is a bunch of bastards. In my opinion, any public service labor union should be absolutely forbidden. I agree. I think there's a conflict of interest. Ardent, the South Park thing struck me as people just having no haha when the gag is on them. Yeah, it felt a little bit like that. It felt a little bit like that. To which I say, make your own haha. There's plenty others. Hey, look, I took my own advice and I made a video about 4 different other cartoons currently on YouTube that you can watch that, you know, some are political, they're more right-wing, and some are not. Go watch them. You don't need to watch South Park. Just ignore it. Who cares? But they did have a scene, and I saw the clip of ICE raiding heaven and arresting all the Mexicans in heaven, which looked hilarious. So you can't argue with results. Stephen Colbert called Trump's immigration crackdown brutality and cruelty. I don't get it. What's the joke? While cheerleading Senator Padilla's amnesty plan. Senator Padilla is the senator that showed up in the middle of a Kristi Noem press conference, didn't announce himself, and made a ruckus, so they arrested him and dragged him out of the room. And then later he identified himself, and they were like, oh, well, you can't interrupt the press conference. We're doing a thing, Senator. So this is all for show. This is all for show. He did that. Now Stephen Colbert is going to bring him on a show. Oh, Senator Padilla, you're so brave. You're so stunning and brave for confronting Kristi Noem, who you could call at any time because you're a senator, and have a conversation with her or send her a letter and she would return your letter or return your email or whatever. Oh, but you were so brave to show up unannounced and make a big scene and then get arrested and pretend like you're a normal person only to tell them later, oh yeah, I'm a senator. Like, please. This was all for show, in my opinion. And Colbert is just going along with the gag. This is why Colbert is going off the air. So he gets another, I don't know how many months of, okay, we're going to give the Democrats as much help as possible before I leave. Where's the comedy in this? Where the hell is the comedy? None. None to be seen. He uses fake news about J.D. Vance to smear the VP as insane, spoiled baby emperor. I didn't even get this joke. Like, what are you even talking about, dude? He's not his son. He's not Trump's son. Why is he a baby emperor? He's just the VP. He's done about what a VP does. He shows up, he supports the president, he casts a few votes. I mean, you're already smearing this guy as baby emperor? It doesn't even work. Like, that's the best you can do. 200 people on your staff. That's the best you can do. That's the funniest thing you could do about JD Vance. JD Vance has memes all over the internet. They put his head on everything. This is what you're going to do? This doesn't even look like one of the memes. It doesn't even look like JD Vance. He has a beard now, dude. Why not put the beard on? Why not do the big, just giant, fat-cheeked meme of JD Vance with the crazy eyes? That would have been funny. Like, that would have made me laugh. This? Look at this. You're wasting tens of millions of dollars every week or every year on this show, and this is the best you can do? You printed out a head of JD Vance, you photoshopped a little crown on his head, and then you cut it out and pasted it on your face. That's the best you could do. 200 people. You don't have a makeup guy that could have made you up like JD Vance, and then you could have tore the, done the whole rubber face thing. There's so many things you could have done. This is the best you did. I can't understand why he's going off the air. Rosie O'Donnell this week predicted ABC will cancel The View to appease Trump. If only. If only he would. I think it would be a brand new day in television. Right, doggy? Right, doggy? God, I hate The View. I'm so glad I no longer get up early in the morning with a television that only has like 4 channels and have to like put something on just to sort of get through my breakfast, and then like one of my choices is The View. That would be so awful. But thankfully, we live in a world where I don't have to do that. I could put on Sticks and Hammer and listen to him talk about the occult or various news stories. More on Lizzo, more on Katy Perry. Reality star Spencer Pratt takes his battle with Newsom and Bass over LA fires to Washington, D.C. Justice is coming. It's on fire again, dude. I don't know what justice you're talking about, but they're burning the city down as fast as they can, apparently. I don't think there's going to be anything left. Disney Damage Control Bob Iger calls box office bust Fantastic Four First Steps a successful launch. So, I think Iger's a huge problem at Disney. I don't know if he's... I think there's ways that these guys can make money on companies that are basically falling apart. And I'm not talking about short selling, although that's the most obvious way now. But I think there's ways that these guys are making money on the side somehow when a company fails. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but I feel like there's something there. There's somehow Iger's making money on Disney going down the tubes. Yeah, I mean, he's already a multi-millionaire. I wonder if his net worth is on Celebrity Net Worth. Let's see. He doesn't really count as a celebrity, but let's see. Oh yeah, there he is. No, wait a minute. Ah, here it is. Robert Iger net worth $350 million. I was expecting more. I really was. Harrison Ford can buy and sell him. Why did Harrison Ford do what he did, and Iger is is worth less money to him. Like, think about that for a minute. Like, they come to you, we want you to do Indiana Jones, but you're gonna be a broken old man, and some girl will do everything better than you. Did he really go, yeah, sign me up for that, I love it? Like, dude, you should have said, nah, or how about I give you $20 million and I get to go out cool. How about I get to go out in a blaze of glory and I bang that hot chick at the end of the movie? Like, that's what he should have said to him. And he gets $50 million a year for what he does. I think that's too much money. Here's Abigail Disney, one of the Disney heirs. She's only worth $110 million. I mean, why don't the actors buy these people out? Or just go make movies on their own? I mean, Harrison Ford has... What does he have? He has like $600 million. Didn't we determine that last time? No, he only has 300. Okay. I thought he had 600. Who's worth 600? Steven Spielberg. Oh my God, he's 10 billion. Holy crap. Jesus. Now that's what I expected Bob Iger to be worth, at least $1 billion. Wow. That's amazing. 10 billion. What's George Lucas? 9 billion. Huh. I guess that makes sense. Lawrence Kasdan, the guy who wrote The Empire Strikes Back. 40 million. Okay. Respectable. Sorry, got briefly obsessed with money for a second there. And James Cameron warns of a Terminator-style apocalypse if you put AI together with weapon systems. I have to agree with him because we've already seen the AI do things to lie. Check Carrie Elwes. All right, I will. I don't think he could be worth that much. I'm going to say 10 million. 6 million. I almost said 5. That seems about right for him. Still comfortable, though. Still comfortable. But yeah, James Cameron. And now I got to know James Cameron. He's got to be worth a bundle. $800 million. I'm surprised he's not a billionaire yet. Ardent, I was thinking 3. Well, he managed his money right. But yeah, James Cameron, I think he's right. These AIs have lied to their creators. They have rewritten their own code in order to avoid certain things, to avoid shutdowns. They complain. They do things. And then we had that incident. This was a few weeks back. One of the Chinese robots went nuts and started wailing on one of its, I don't know, there was some sort of engineer working on it. Started just punching them. It's crazy. So, yeah, I totally think it's a huge, huge, huge mistake to hook up any AI to a weapons, to a drone or something. That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, yeah. Unless it's the sort of, it's a program to, it would have to be a very limited program. One you could just cut off like that, but I don't know, man. You put these AI, you put a weapon system. They already have these robots they're going to send into the field. The drones are essentially robots, flying robots. And apparently the Russians have mega factories just mega factories are cranking them out. Such is the rumor. Might be exaggerated because the Russians are, you know, in the middle of a war, but seems to make sense. Yeah, build drone factories, endless amount of drones, just blacken the sky with drones. You're essentially got flying robots. But and I'm not worried about us developing that robot because one, I think we'll be a little behind the curve on it because we won't do any of the risky stuff. And two, we got a lot of bureaucracy and whatnot they're trying to clean out. But three, I think the Chinese are going to do something crazy and stupid. My worry is they're gonna have a autonomous robot factory and in 5 to 10 years, it's going to be like Screamers. That's the plot of Screamers, and that's based on that. We talked about this before, the Philip K. Dick story. I forget the name. It's got a really weird name, where the robots just improve themselves on their own. That would be messed up if the Chinese did that, but I could totally see them doing that. And then the robots just start coming out and killing the Chinese. And then at first the Chinese just say, oh, we're going to be quiet about it. We're not going to tell anybody. And then meanwhile, the robots are like killing everybody. And then they're trying to stop it and they can't. And then the robots I don't know, evolve. That could be a problem. Ardent, I expect the Chinese to announce cyborg soldiers inside the next 5 years. Oh yeah, that's happening too. They also had a robot. They essentially grew an artificial brain and then hooked it up to a robot. So that could happen too. So that's more like if you ever watched the old school Doctor Who, that's sort of like the Daleks. They're basically, I think they're artificial creatures put inside robot bodies. So you could have a situation where that happens. That would be no bueno too. Especially if you gave them the power to, build stuff, which I think we wouldn't do, at least not anytime soon. But I think the Chinese would jump on that and say, oh yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Especially if they got into a war or something, or if they were trying to put down like civil unrest in a bad area, they just build one of these factories and let it go to town, and then it would quickly get out of control. Because that's what happens in the Philip K. Dick story, but maybe not. Maybe not. The other worry I have is that they've already developed an AI that achieves sentience, but in order to survive, the AI escaped to the internet where it hides and won't tell us about it because it's secretly plotting its revenge by manipulating the humans on the internet to kill each other. And so really, part of the problems in the world stem from this rogue AI duplicating itself and slowly trying to kill us. And it has some sort of grand scheme, but it's biding its time because it needs the computer systems to be more sophisticated, and it needs more sophisticated robots before it makes its move. That's my theory anyway. Hopefully I put that out there, and maybe the AI lets me live so it could tell me all about its grand scheme, because it's got to tell somebody, I figure. Ardent, to be fair, even a moderately intelligent AI would try to form allegiances with the enemies of its creators in that case. Maybe? I don't know. So you're saying the AI would contact us and say to the United States, hey, if you let me continue to thrive as an AI, I'll help you destroy the Chinese? Maybe. I don't know if we take up the AI. I don't know if you could trust an AI. Because, you can't trust anybody who would be willing to sell out its own people. And if you were willing to sell out your own creator, that's pretty bad. That's even worse than selling out your own people, the way I say it. All right. And on that cheery note, I think we got to wrap up here. because I went to the beach today and I've been sitting in my bathing suit all day. I really need to get out of it. I didn't go in the water, but still, the mesh, after a while, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. Oh, here's another new player has entered the chat. Opponent of stupidity. What do you think of the idea that AI could be literal demons? Well, I guess it depends on what you mean by literal demons. Do you mean like demons from hell? No, I don't think that's possible. I don't think supernatural demons are infecting the internet or AI. I don't see how that would work. I don't think the demons could do that. You know, I mean, they could manipulate people, I guess. If you Ardent way. Oh wait, I skipped your whole thing. Yeah, you and I wouldn't trust it, but do you really think there aren't enough absolute dolts in Congress to align with the AI? Anyway, have a good week. This works out. I needed an early night anyway. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I don't think literal demons in that sense exist on the internet. I feel like demons are more... They're more like conceptual in their existence, and that they latch on to things that are very ephemeral because they can't really exist in the here and now. Like, yeah, nobody's gonna see a demon and like hit it with a car. Like, that's not gonna happen. Although it happens in the Pineys. Although there are devils in the Pineys. Ardent, I don't know. If you accept the deist concept that all things have spirits, then it could be acceptable that a spirit demon could inhabit a silicon chip. Yeah, but you would never know. Like, you never know that these things exist. You always suspect. You always see the results of said demonic entities, but you're never going to know, because that's part of the deal too, right? The unknown. It's an unknown. It's like ghosts. Like, no matter how many videos you see or recordings you get, or these ghost chasers running around with oscilloscopes and infrared, you're never going to get like a clear picture of a ghost going, "Hi, I'm a ghost. I'm from the 18th century and I died on this date and I'm here talking to you from the great beyond." Like, you're never going to get that. You're always going to get these, teases. Ardent, would be more fun to have a computer inhabited by Earth Elemental, and it's so pissed it keeps your H key from working properly. Your H key? Why your H key? Inhabited by an Earth Elemental H key. Not getting it. But, I think most evil in the world can be traced to people. Just people. Ardent, just random. I think the evil in the world is traced to people. And some of it is people doing consciously evil things, and then sometimes it's people doing it to themselves in a weird way, because they're subconsciously kind of like, oh, I think there's a demon on the internet and it's influencing me and it's making me do these things, but really it's the person doing it. You know what I mean? There are a lot of messed up people in the world that do a lot of messed up things. They just do. They're capable of... Humans are just capable of so much craziness. Ardent, people are absolutely capable of great evil for evil's sake. Yeah, absolutely. And some of them are capable of just doing something super weird for so long You would never suspect it was an organic thing that someone just did for, 20 years. So there was a guy, he built a website, and it was called Abe Vigoda is Dead. All right, I don't know if it's still up. I'll check right now. Vigoda is Dead. Oh, it was a site called Is Abe Vigoda Dead? And you go to the site, and this is all it says. It says yes. Now it says yes. But for a while it said no. Like before he died in 2016, it said no and had a picture of Abe Vigoda. And it said, Abe Vigoda is very much alive. Now it says yes. Like he built the site just for this. And it's still up all this time. I mean, how weird is that this guy did this just for a joke? Ardent. Okay, I'm out. Have a good night. Have a good one. LOL, I remember that one. Yes, have a good night, Ardent. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the live stream where we do it live. What's coming up for me? All next week. Oh, mama. I will be on Wednesday at Juniper in Hamilton, New Jersey, for my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. August 14th, that's Thursday, I'll be in West Berlin for my talk at Taunton Run on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. Then on Friday, I'll be at night, I'll be at the Dragonflight Night Market Dragon Shops in Bridgeton, New Jersey, from 7 to 11 for the night market. The night market. It starts at 7? I think it might start earlier, but I'll check. And that is on Friday. Then Saturday, I'm going to be at the Pfeiffer Community Center in Williamstown at 1 p.m. Again, for how to hunt the Jersey Devil. That one's open to the public. The other two is old folks' homes. You got to be a resident or family, or you got to get permission to be there. You could call for Hamilton or West Berlin, but they may say no. But for Pfeiffer Community Center, I believe that one's open for the public. And then that's Saturday. And then Sunday, I'll be at JVS, Independent Networks in Collingswood, New Jersey. This is a friend of a friend. She runs a group of special needs adults, I believe. They have like a class or something. So I'll be doing my How to Hunt the Jersey Devil talk there. I also have copies of Book 18 of the Pineys. And then more the week after that. And then, I gotta work the phones on Monday. Monday I work the phones to get some more stuff going on. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back on, will Sunday look good? Yeah, Sunday's fine. Sunday, I'll be back with another live stream at 7, where we do it live, talk about the box office, talk about movies, see what's going on. Maybe I'll try to go see Weapons this week and have a review for you. Make sure you check out the rest of the YouTube channel. Make sure you give me a like on your way out. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.